Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all well-meaning Biafrans. My greetings to you from my location. Please, as I welcome you, I want you to welcome another person this wonderful evening. It is very, very imperative that you invite people to listen to what we are doing this evening. So as I salute you or greet you, please greet someone by sharing the program, liking and subscribing to our platform where we discuss all around how every other countries achieve their own. Now that is the same way that we are going to achieve our own nation. That there is no shortcut, there is no short road, there is no easy access for us to achieve this nation. That's because of this nation. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in prison. Simon also is in prison in Finland, going through appeal for him to come out. Because of what? Because of this country, because of this our lovely nation. That is why these men and men of Biafra, under Biafra military, they are all in prison. The only reason why they are in prison, they do not commit any crime, is just because of they want us to be free and they try to defend the motherland. As they are defending the motherland, which is the United States of Biafra, the Nigerian military and all their evil enemies keep on pointing our people. That is how people are losing their life, and many of them are in prison. So we are here this evening also to share to you everything that USB is doing, why those things are the only legal way how we can achieve our country, and the only means that many other people in this world have achieved their own country. They did not achieve their nation because of noise. They never achieved their country because of how they think, what they feel, and what they want to do. So for you that already joined me, please, have you liked the program? If you're first time joining me, you will see a three dot in front of your phone. Click on that three dot. It will open. You will see like and share. When you share a program, you are inviting someone else to come and join the program. That is why we always ask you, have you shared? Have you liked? Do you comment? That is why it's very imperative. On our today's program, you know how we do it here. After sharing the program within some minutes and wait to have about 10 people that like our program, we are diving in direct to the program by starting playing the punishment that some countries, America and Ghana, give to those that was against their declaration or redeclare, like our own case. Remember, I want you to know one thing, that anywhere you want to research anything about Biafra, you must put that word lost country. You must put that word lost country. That is the way that the word we understand the identification of what you are asking. Because you knew that our case is not just a new case. It's an old case for over 59 years of this movement. I want you to help me to do one thing this evening. What do I want you to help me to do? I want you to just calculate between Owazwike 1999 to 2026. Please help me. How many years is that? Between 1999 to 2026 is what the question I ask. How many years is that? And when you find the answer, then I will tell you why I decided to go this way this evening. For those who are making big government, how about to be big government? For those who are in IPOB. Because na ndị be si n'okwu Igbo na onye amarọ ebe mmiri na obido ịmụ ya, ọ dị akpa ama ebe mmiri si wee kwụsa. And onye amara ebe nsogbu ya si wee bido, ọ dịghị ama ebe oge kwụsa ya nwa bụ nsogbu. Mana ime ebe nsogbu gị si wee bido, then ị ga-ama ebe ị ga-esi kwụsa ya bụ nsogbu properly. Do you understand it? That is why I want you, the person that are here, Oliver also, thank you so much. I see you. Show me if I see you. Bridget, I see you. Paul, I see you. Please, I just want you to like. If you are following me on TikTok, also please touch tap your screen so the message can go viral. Because the more you like, the people will not get notification that we are live and we are direct. What we are doing today is very simple. Our question is, under international law, when any country accepts asylum document from GIE, what is the meaning? All these countries that are accepting asylum document from the usually declared, what is the meaning of that thing they are doing? Is it just a mere story? Rose, I see you. Rose, I see you. Thank you so much. So, I want you to pay attention on today's program. So you will know why whenever I said that I am a proud citizen of United States of Biafra, there is a reason. Yes, 27 years. 20 what? 27 years. In a normal terms, this is what took Algeria. Algeria was from 1954 to 1962. How many years? They achieved their country. This is what took Namibia. 25 years in everything, both protest agitation, for them to achieve their own country. Now, when you go to those that lost their country in Africa, like Eritrea, it took Eritrea that lost their country in the hands of Ethiopia. It took them 15 years to achieve their own country. When you look at a country called, in Africa here, Madagascar, it took them 10 years in everything. And our own has, as of today, has took us 27 years. Now, if you go back to calculate from the 1970, we lost the war, to 2026, how many years? How many good years? That is where you will understand the area I am coming from. So, you see, the loss of this Christian nation is why the people, the indigenous people, even in Nigeria, is suffering today. The loss of this Christian nation is why Africa remains in darkness and the world want to buy anyone that want to liberate Africa. I'll give you some example before we go into the program today fully. Look at Ibrahim Traore in Africa. The world want to buy him because of what? He is out to liberate Africa. And the world also know that a voice like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will liberate Africa. They knew that a voice like Simon Ekpa Njoku will liberate Africa from their hands, from the colonial masters, who has never left, both in Nigeria, both in Africa, or any other places. They have never left. They remain. They stay there till today. And if you see their plans, then you will understand. You will understand why Finland decided to collide with Nigeria to arrest our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa Njoku. because of those that will stop them from their agenda. They do not want them. They want those that will be answering them. Okay, sir. Yes, ma. We agree with you. Let us do what he said. That is what they want. They don't want those that will change the narrative or that the ideology. But when they see men who are prepared to change the ideology, they must go after those men, try to stop them by all possible means. I hope you are following. 27 years. Only being a member of IPOB to 2026 is 12 years. By October 12 next year, it becomes 13 years. A child of 13 years, is this still remain in nursery school? A child of 13 years, is this still remain in nursery school? The answer is no. A child of 13 years probably is not even in primary school, true or false. In this current Gen Z life, they are no longer in primary, they are in secondary school. And that's why I asked them yesterday, my question on my program, what is the meaning of transition? Until you understand transition, then you will understand what Simon Ekpa is doing and what our DPM is doing today, why the redeclaration of our lost nation is a pure transition, how to achieve our nation. Like every other country transitioned. And I played to you about 5 countries, how they transition to achieve their own nation. They started from organization. They now moved into a country. They first moved to Government-in-Exile. They did the same thing we did on November 2024. They did what? They issue declaration or redeclare. Yes, from the 1970 to today, to 2026 is 56 good years. If you go right round of all these that lost their country, that immediately everyone that we have lost our country, they transitioned to Government-in-Exile. All of them, it took them 20, 30 years to achieve their nation totally in general. But our own, 56 years. And we are still struggling. We have now, we just declared some years ago. Because men who understand what we are doing has emerged to do the work. Women that Mazen Kanu said, until these women join this movement, that is when Biafra has come. And that women must to come from where? US, America. And I'm asking you today, the woman that is piloting the affairs of Biafra through this government, where is she staying? Where is it coming from? She is coming from US. And you know that one has come. And you claim you followed Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And the thing what he said has fulfilled. That a time will come when we will form Government-in-Exile. That he needs 100 men. That also, that when a woman in America joined this movement, that Biafra has come. And that woman in America is the one who issued the peaceful redeclaration of our lost nation. Not by you. Not by what you think. Not by how you feel. You see the years that have wasted. We are doing Enyanyi Biafra wanting to go. Nye ya ka odima Enyanyi Biafra wanting to go. Chukwu okike anyị na yo na anya na agụ ya. Esokwa m wee gụ. Because I was there. Men and other. And then arrest. The present audio that is going on, that is the mass of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. We with our own men, we are moving. We know it. They ask us to turn back. We are to heading to Abia State. There. We have to turn back. We have to. Do we know what could happen if we are there? And he can make Biafra. And where you cannot find the real criteria how to restore this nation that we are fighting to restore. I am doing it for you to know the truth, if you wish to. Because for me, I was a member. I was a coordinator. But I thank you, that saves my life. And I am here today. Finding the way, the only way to achieve this our lost nation is what USB is doing. There is no other way to achieve this nation except this track that we're into right now. Why do I say so? This is the only way many other countries have achieved their own. Those that lost their own under 30 years, under 25 years, even at wars under 40 years. Belgium lost their country. Netherlands lost their country. Poland lost their country. Ireland lost their country in Europe. Check how many it took them to get it back. But for them to be able to get this country back, they first transition to exile. Form of government-in-exile structure with full capacity of member of the structure of the government. And they issue, they redeclare their nation. And their country within some years. Yesterday I proved it to you how many countries, how they transition. Palestine. I gave you Palestine yesterday. I gave you Algeria. And many of them. And what are you doing today? You are an organization. And you are waiting for Mars to come out, continue an organization. What is your own effort when he was not there? After all these 12 years of preaching you, after all this trying to sensitize your mind to know the truth. And what do you bring on the table? Nothing. You under IPOB, you under Brig, you did not bring anything to the table. Because without having the document on the table, without proving a government structure, without having the legal document, you bring nothing to the table. Rather, you bring only noise making. Because he made it clear to me. I don't know if he made it clear to you that he told us that until we, the people of Biafra, generate this document of redeclaration, that is only when we have a name, and also when we have, that is only time we will stop making noise. That without it, you are a noisemaker. You are disturbing the atmosphere. And I am here this evening to remind you, what do you bring to the table when your leader is arrested, put under incarceration? What is your own effort from where he stopped? If you cannot find an answer, you have wasted the time, and you are not ready that Biafra should be a country. And I want to use the language. If you can't bring anything to the table except noise making, Apagogi, we have the USB has dribbling you. Leave the road. Because you can't offer any, you can't afford what you don't have. It's not about how many years you have been in IPOB or you are in Brig and you are looking for position. And because of you could not lay hand in position, you become a saboteur, you start sabotaging the movement. And you want to be a Toma from prison and Pochun goes and your Bryce no come, he will put you as the chief of staff. That is what you are fighting for. Shame on you. Chomo come. What you are looking for, who look at you know that you are a big buffoon, you are a mad person. All of you. That is fighting, dancing, dance of the shame. But I want to remind you quickly, he who laughed last, laughed the best. Obatobie was fighting to get what? Documents. True or false? Obatobie was fighting for us to have a document that will remove us on the criteria of making noise. That is what he was fighting for. He never fight for us to remain under Briggy. Because if Briggy is enough for us to have every document, why do we need to go? Why is he fighting to redeclare? Under 1 week, they took him away. And you could not do anything. Because of what? You never come for Biafra to become a nation, but you want to use Biafra to become relevant. People will know who you are. That is why you came, nothing more than that. And I am here this evening to tell you for free that Biafra has been redeclared. It was redeclared like what Ghana did in 1957. It was redeclared the same way America issued Declaration 1776. Go and check. The same way when Poland lost their country in 1959, they redeclared it. The same way Netherlands redeclared it. The same way Belgium. The same way Baltic State, Lithuania. The same way even France went to exile. They come into Africa. The same way Ghana. The same way Ethiopia. The same way Madagascar. The same way Congo DR. The same way Tanzania. The same way Malawi. The same way Ivory Coast. The same way Algeria and all of them. That is what USB has done, and that is the way we can become a country. There is no other way. Do not panic, do not move an inch. And if you are doubting it, I want to remind you quickly on this paper, what we have here, which I want you to go and ask questions. Countries that women issued their declaration. Brazil, 1922, September 2nd, by a woman. The Almighty Israel, that you are inside bush today, you are Netanyahu to come and serve you, was declared by a woman, March 14. Belarus, 1990, July 27, a woman. Congo DRC, 1960, June 30. Canada, Almighty Canada, 1929, October 18. Madagascar, 1960, June 26. Tanzania, 1961, December 9. Malawi, 1964, July 6. Ivory Coast, 1960, August 7. Algeria, 1962, July 5th. These are countries that women issue the same declaration that Dr. Ngozi Arabeze did, and you think that she has committed a crime. You are asking her, who asked you to go and declare? Are you the spirit of Biafra? Are you the owner of Biafra? Are you? Are you the spirit of Biafra? Are you the owner of Biafra? Ofo and Shim, I'd like you to tap your screen to like, to invite more people to join on TikTok. If you can do that. If you can do that. I want you to know the part that are very important at this stage. Nothing is important except for you to support this government for them to achieve recognition. That is the important thing. You see the conversation that happened in Nigeria, how to create more states. All those things are useless because they want to undermine you declare. That is why they are relevant to me. What is important to me is all the effort we need to put for all this government to achieve recognition. That is the most important thing to me. And if not for that, whatever you are looking out there does not, it has no meaning to me. Because there is more important thing. There's what my grandfather called important pa. My grandfather said there is important pa. When I was saying that this one is very sacrosanct. In the case we are, it's a case of sacrosanct. Everything that is happening in Nigeria to create another new nation, to Igbo this, to this and that, is to undermine US declared, but they never knew that the word they are asking now, the Fulanese has taken every position and they are urging is to Islamize you, that is believing one Nigeria. Is it now that they are going to accept you? What Ojukwu did not achieve that time that leads to war, you will not achieve. Stop deceiving yourself. Because in the majority of parties in the House of Senate, they outlined you. If you are a Biafran and you are not supporting usually declared, I am telling you one thing. If for no, and how can you use what you are looking for? Now, listen for those in a country like America and Ghana. What's happened to those that undermined the 1776 declaration? In Ghana, those that undermined the declaration of Ghana by Kwame Nkrumah, 1957 March. Listen to that. What happened to them? That is what you are looking for, that will surely happen to you. And when men undermine the truth, the consequence of that truth is very severely. When men and women undermine the truth, the consequence is very heavy. And that is had I know. And I am here today to keep on reminding you that had I know is knocking on your door, that you are destroying your future generation. Listen to this.
Following Ghana's independence in March 1957, Prime Minister Kwame Nkrumah and the Convention People's Party, CPP, implemented strict legal, political, and penal measures to suppress opposition groups, primarily the Ashanti-backed National Liberation Movement, NLM, Iwi activists in Togoland, and the Northern People's Party. The Special Court of No Appeal, the tribunal frequently referred to as the Court of No Appeal, was formerly known as the Special Criminal Division of the High Court, established via the Criminal Procedure, Special Criminal Division, Act of 1961, and expanded under the 1963 Amendment. Structure and jurisdiction. Designed specifically to try cases of high treason, sedition, and political offenses, such as assassination plots like the 1962 Kulungugu bombing targeting Nkrumah. No jury and in-camera proceedings. Trials were held without a jury and were frequently conducted in camera, behind closed doors hidden from the public and press, inside the Supreme Court building and Christiansburg Castle at Osu. Absolute non-appealable verdicts. Under the law establishing this court, there was no right of appeal to any higher judicial body. Decisions were final. Executive overrule. When a three-judge panel led by Chief Justice Sir Aku Korsa acquitted three prominent politicians, Tawiah Adamafio, Ako Adjei, and Kofi Crab, of treason in December 1963, Nkrumah immediately dismissed the Chief Justice, declared the court's judgment null and void, and reconstituted the special court with a single judge, Justice Sarkodie Adu, and a selected 12-man panel. The defendants were retried, found guilty, and sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment. Full range of punishments imposed. Beyond the special court, the state deployed several legal mechanisms to punish political opponents. Preventive detention without trial, 1958 PDA. The Preventive Detention Act empowered the government to arrest and jail anyone suspected of acting against state security for up to 5 years, later extended to 10 years, without formal charges or trial. Over 2,000 citizens were jailed. Prominent founding fathers like Dr. J.B. Dankwa and Emmanuel Obetsebi Lamti died under harsh conditions in Ensawam medium security prison.
J.B. Dankwa was a member of the cabinet that issued the Declaration of Ghana, 1957 March. After the declaration, he decamped. Like Imam Madwabu, Chomo Okoma, Bryson Okoma, Ugo 2419, Chiamaka Jure, Ogenkeruye, Dr. Age, all of them, the same case. And that is the one. Those that stand on the day of that declaration, all of them died in prison in Ghana. Ghana never allowed them because they brought downfall. They wanted to destroy even started to bomb the Kwame Nkrumah Government-in-Exile and all of them. But Chukwu Ogawa saved them. The same way, okay, 7 of Tangozo are arrested today, whether I like it or not. This punishment, you had the punishment. They build court of no appeal, means court of no mercy for anyone who was castigating, who was undermining, who was insulting the declaration of Ghana. They never go scot-free.
Deportation and stripping of citizenship. The Deportation Act.
Deportation. They deport their own citizens. They did what? They deport their own citizens. Remove them from Ghana. Strip off their citizenship because of the crime they committed, because fighting against the declaration of Ghana. There is one thing you don't know. Once a government that issue a redeclaration is serious, nothing will stop them to achieve recognition. And I want to give you one word. Destiny can be delayed, but it can never be denied.
Of 1957 allowed the state to expel any person deemed not in the interest of the public good. Although intended for non-citizens, it was routinely used against Ghanaian political opponents by stripping them of their citizenship rights. Outlawing political parties, the Avoidance of Discrimination Act of 1957 banned political parties organized along regional, ethnic, or religious lines. By 1964, a referendum turned Ghana into a legal one-party state, making opposition entirely illegal. Deposition of chiefs, opposition paramount chiefs, especially in Ashanti, were stripped of official state recognition, had their traditional stool revenues seized, and were replaced by government loyalists. Estimated numbers forced into exile. Exact figures vary because many crossed porous borders informally, but records document the following migration totals. Togo border exile, 1958 to 1961. French Togoland, later the Republic of Togo, documented approximately 5,700.
Are you hearing it? Over 5,000 Ghana citizens was deported to Togo. Listen, because you are now doing it. It is sweet you for body. The time is coming. Your body go pepper you. Your body go pain you, like you will ask yourself. That is when her dino will reach you. Look at Ghana deported some people. Over 5, only in Togo, they deported over what? 5,000 citizens of Ghana. Hey.
Registered political refugees who fled eastern Ghana following the 1957 Togoland plebiscite disputes and post-independence roundups. Prominent leaders and intellectuals, top opposition figures, including opposition leader Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia, who fled in 1959, and intellectual leaders of the United Party (UP), fled to Western Europe, primarily the UK. And
you had some of them flew to those who has money. They flew to Europe, to UK. Where are you going to flee? Prepare it for now. From now, henceforth, prepare it.
West African states to establish anti-Nkrumah exile coalitions. Overall estimates. Scholars and historical records estimate that between 6,000 and 10,000 Ghanaian citizens fled into exile between 1957 and the 1966 military coup that ousted Nkrumah.
Are you listening to that? That is the punishment for those who never supported or those who even supported the Declaration of Ghana, 1957 March. Now, we are going to hear about those that opposed the Declaration of Independence of America. Instead of that, they oppose it and continue supporting Britain. Listen to this. They continue supporting British. Listen to this. You are in America. Listen.
Those who opposed the Declaration of Independence and supported the British Crown were known as Loyalists or Tories. They made up roughly.
They call them what?
20%.
Loyalists or Tories is what the America called them. These are those that oppose the what? The Declaration of Independence of Ghana, or sorry, of America. The almighty US, where you are today. You call yourself, I don't know, and you opposing you declared. You are repeating the history of over that 80,000 of America who flew away when US achieved the recognition after declaration
of the American colonial population. Rather than widespread executions, American patriot authorities and local militias relied heavily on financial, civil, and social punishments. Property confiscation and financial penalties. Confiscation Act. State legislatures passed laws allowing local governments to seize land, homes, businesses, and personal possessions belonging to loyalists. These properties were auctioned off to fund the Revolutionary Army and support state budgets. Double or triple taxes. Loyalists were subjected to punitive tax rates, often required to pay double or triple what patriot citizens pay. Loss of legal protections. Courts stripped loyalists of civil rights, making it illegal for them to sue for unpaid debts, practice law or medicine, or run for public office. Banishment and forced exile. Expulsion. Many states enacted laws banishing prominent loyalists. If they returned without permission, they faced immediate imprisonment or execution. Mass migration. An estimated 60,000 to 80,000 loyalists fled North America during and after the war, resettling in Canada, Great Britain, or British colonies in the Caribbean. Informal and mob violence. Tarring and feathering. Local militias and patriot groups frequently used mob tactics to intimidate outspoken loyalists. Suspects were stripped, covered in warm tar and feathers, and paraded through town. Oaths of allegiance. Citizens were forced to sign public oaths renouncing King George III and swearing loyalty to the revolutionary government. Refusing to sign often led to house arrest, loss of weapons, or physical violence. Execution for treason, rare. While state governments established treason laws carrying the death penalty, executions were surprisingly rare. Revolutionary juries were generally reluctant to hand down death sentences for ideological loyalty alone. Capital punishment was typically reserved for those caught acting as active spies, leading armed loyalist guerrilla units, or committing high treason directly on the battlefield. The 1783 Treaty of Paris, which formally ended the Revolutionary War, included clauses urging states to restore confiscated property to loyalists. However, most American states ignored these recommendations, leaving the overwhelming majority of displaced loyalists with no compensation.
I hope you listen. That is the punishment. Now, I welcome you all to today's program. Let us find out, whenever you hear people giving testimony about USB issuing asylum documents and countries in the world accept it, let us see how the world, what that means under international law is very, very important, and what it means to us, what it means to USB at this stage that we are into. So I greet you, Flola Kubido. Thank you, Wanda. Honorable Ushe, I see you. Oliver Hillary, Honorable Iskechukwu, I see you. Olushi, I see you. Thank you so much for those that are here. Faith Media, thank you. Mommy Shomi, but thank you. I greet all of you so much for being here with me. As you are here, you are encouraging me to do more, and I must continue. But I ask you for one thing, please like and share the program. So many people who like our program will come. Those that can notification and the new people will join us, please. It is very important if you do so. So let us find out. These asylum documents under international law, what does it mean and how do they see it? Now, let's go to program of today. I hope you are with me as we are moving into the program of today. Listen.
Any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognition tacita. Even if the host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech, recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad, and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law, sovereign status, implied recognition. Legally validates the exile government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction honored. Confirms the host state views the exiled government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing. Precedent established. Creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
I hope you are listening. And after that, we will go to session 2 if time permits us. The only thing I ask you is to like and share the program, so those who are talking down on you to declare asylum documents and they cannot issue anyone, listen. That's why I said that the criteria to put Biafra as a nation is not in our hand. What is in our hand is to generate all the current documents and give to the world. That is what is in our hand. Everything that you are claiming that is happening today, people talking about it, they are just making noise. I said what? They are just doing what? Making noise. Let's listen to it again before we go into our analysis.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognitio tacita. Even if the host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech, recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law, sovereign status, implied recognition. Legally validates the exile government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction honored. Confirms the host state views the exile government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing. Precedent established. Creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
Yes. And I know why I play it 2 times for the doubting Thomas so they can hear it. And if you want to get that on your phone, you're going to type something very easily. I'm going to tell you what I typed to get this question, this answer you are hearing here. The answer is in the open. It's not inside the secret court. The answer to that is in the open, not inside a secret court. Just type under international law after a lost nation issue peaceful redeclaration for government in exile. If any country accepts asylum document that issued by government in exile to their citizens of lost nation, what does it mean under international law? That was my question, because whatever USB is bringing out for us, I want you to know why it's very important for you to have it. That is why I decided to start with asylum. The document does have what it takes to this nationality document certificate that we're asking you to take if you're in homeland. You better do that for yourself, for your own safety, and also for that Biafra to be recognized. That is why I'm doing this. So, under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, our case is a case of what? A lost nation. USB has been formed already as government in exile that issue a peaceful declaration. When any country accepts any asylum document from USB direct, it triggers a several profound legal consequences under international law. There is a legal act under all international law why the world accepts a document that is coming from a government in exile. It's not just a document, and it's not just sign asylum. There is something that this document represents. Let's continue. Implements the de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. This triggers 2 things. One is what? The de jure recognition. 2 is the de facto one. But first, de facto and the de jure recognition depend on the criteria of those who want to accept the asylum document. You see what asylum document simply means. It means what? They call it what? De facto or de jure sovereign recognition for the lost nation. For all these countries that has been accepting USB asylum documents, is automatically first de facto recognition. Second, the general one. We are waiting for them to recognize us officially. That is whenever you hear de jure sovereign recognition. Have you seen the efforts of what USB is doing and what is going to manifest out of that effort? It's not about talking about Ethiopia. A big name. You don't want a big name in a country. You didn't want a big name and a country. No. And now the right thing must be done. Or try to please you. No, that's not the truth. I said what? It's not the truth.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign
recognition. Are you hearing it? 1. Because of that, any country accepted a government in exile, I mean, the one that have issued a peaceful redeclaration with that document, and they send any asylum document to any country for their own citizens of Biafrans. That is what they said. Now, this thing is number one thing, what they call the facto recognition. Number two, the jure, that is the final one, is what this document represents. And you may just be seen as just a common paper. You may decide not to adhere to that. That's why I told you that when men and the women undermine the truth, the consequences is severely, and had I know, we roll on the ground. Number one, implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Because of what? Because there is a redeclaration of this lost nation. There is. Let's continue.
International law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognitio tacita, even if the host state has not made...
Let's hold it here. Now, a foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledge that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Are you getting something from here? This is number one. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledge that the exile government possesses a sovereign authority over those citizens. Now, we are talking about when you heard that some countries in the world have accepted USB, the ones they send out any document proving asylum to any Biafrans, like many countries today. Japan is there, Ireland is there, and many of them coming like that. Those documents mean something. Those documents did what? Means something very serious. And you are hearing it here that those documents from exile government means what? Two things. One, de facto recognition. Two, de jure recognition. That is the final one. What is that causing these things? They said this document triggers to recognize an exile government as the legitimate and the authentic and the original government of the people, and also by issuing that document of asylum, proving that the citizens are under the government and the government have power over their own citizens that they do want to protect. Chichi from Emirates, from Emirates, I see you. Thank you so much. Please, I ask you to share my program from TikTok and like the program, please. Tap your screen to like. It's very, very important if you do so. The message we are here to preach is what favors all of us, including me and you. Under international law, this constituted implied recognition. This constituted what? Implied what? Recognition. Recognition, even if the whole state has not made official diplomatic speech, recognizing the legal validity of the exile government, a sovereign act functioning as a particular recognition of that government. Are you hearing it? When any host nation in this world accepts USB as a document, I want to know why you have a document proving that you have a country. As you can see. That is very, very imperative if you do so. And listen very attentively when you have these documents, and if you're having problem, why you must need this document. Any country in this world that organizes US document, that is what I'm telling you, that they have did what? De facto waiting for what? For open speech. The open speech of that country is the due recognition. The due recognition is the open word speech that we have a treaty signed by this country. From there henceforth, we accepted them as a full nation of their own. I hope you are following. It is very important. Even if the whole state has not made a formal political speech, America have never done that. Finland has never done that. But we are waiting for them to do it because they must do the needful. They must do what? Do the needful. Recognizing the legal validity of the Exile government sovereign act functioning as a political recognition of that government. Are you hearing it? It's not about what you feel, what you think. It is about what those that have passed this through that we are passing today, the legacy, the history they have kept on the ground is what we are repeating today. You are not setting any new history. Take it or you leave it. And it said that once any country accepts an asylum document to a government in exile that issued a peaceful declaration, it proved that they have recognized the sovereignty of that nation. Recognition is coming for USB, not for organization. It is very important at this stage that you know the value, the quality of what USB is offering to us. Now, validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Let's find out what it means.
Speech. Recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced property. The exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people.
Now, this is number 2. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and they have another sovereign national honor, it the host nation is acknowledge the exile government extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its disciplined publican. It's signed that the exile government, the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, hold the legal authority over the national identity of its people. That is what we are doing today. That is where USB is today and doing everything that's humanly possible for us to achieve everything. Are you supporting the government? Or you lose your trust? You don't want Biafra anymore. The only time that Biafra needed to support fully is when all of you are debating on USB declared. I want you to see everything clearly. I want you to understand that is only usually declared is the only way you can achieve this nation. And we have achieved it. I am pitying you, and I am doing this for you that is doubting usually declared. In any country you are in the world, whether you have paper or no paper, once it's like that, call USB to have everything you needed, then you will be safe. I hope you are listening. Now, on this issue of extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its disciplined publicans, is sign that the government, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, hold a legal authority over the national ID card of its people? The answer is no. When you listen to something, now, instead what they use there, extraterritorial personal jurisdiction, because of what? The effort of usually declared and all these things is only what's proving that there is a government of the people. When I look at everything that USB is doing, what am I seeing? I am seeing myself going home. I don't know about you. Are you seeing yourself going home? Now, this only asylum document leads to what? Two things. To number three. Number one thing is implied de facto or the Jure recognition, the Jew sovereign recognition. Then number two, validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction, proving that the occupying person is no longer the legitimate authority to suppress you and hold your territory. It is what we have to do, what we need to know.
Three, creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)(b) of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities.
Are you listening? It's not about you undermining all these things. It's not about you talking trash. All of them are the evidence of what Dr. Motorola will present to Obatobie when you are not there. This is what we bring on the table when you are not there. And you, what are you going to bring to the table? Is I'm asking you. What are you going to bring on the table if Obatobie comes out? Okay, you will bring, oh, I visited to Finland. I was here 1 month. I come to all the protests. There because you are making noise. You are doing what? You are making noise in social media. You must go and rest. Now, number three. Criteria of building bilateral customer and the presence of what is going on. Under Article 33 in bracket 1B of the Statutes of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by right treaties, by the state practical complied with option of Jus. They believe that an action is legally binding. Yeah, I don't know what you are thinking. He had a law of what? ICJ law. Article 33 in bracket 1B is what I quote for you. Of the status of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by the writing treaties, but by the state practicing complied with option of Jus. They believe that an action is illegal. That action is what? Legal binding. Action is what? Legal what? Binding. On this law, and who is this law is on their side? The law is on the side of the usually declared, the only government that issued declaration, the only one that has document, the only one that is issuing asylum paper, the only one that is trying to do everything, ID card, a passport, everything is coming out gradually. What are you doing? You only come to head of the government. No, you never come too late. We are still processing on number 3, so you can pick up from there. Remember our headline. Under international law, when any country accepts asylum documents from GIE, What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of them to accept it? That is the Helen we are treating. So after this, I'm going to play it fully after I have analyzed it the way that I want every layman to understand what USB is doing and why you must stand on USB and why is that USB is the only hope. Under Article 33, bracket 1b of the Status of the International Law of Justice, ICJ. International law is created not just by writing treaties, but by states practicing comply with option juries. They believe that an action is legal. It's what? Legal building. Look at USB, and when I'm reading out this, where are you finding yourself? What I want to know, what is your mind telling you? If your mind is not telling you that USB has passed this process, you on your own. No sorry, no apology, but rather you are bringing a disgrace to your generation. I hope you are following. And when you look at a lot of things that is coming out from here, that's why I asked this question. With what I am reading out, on the side of who are you seeing it? Is it on the side of Briggy 1, Briggy 2, Briggy 3, Briggy 4, Briggy 5? Because all of them are still claiming Briggy. Even those who authored the document of the original Briggy from Simon Ebanjok, even those that have done that in the past, what happened? Yes, they have proven that they do not want Biafra as a country because all the criteria of those that have won their nation, who is replicant that history, is not the side of USB declared. It's only the side of what the USB declared. He is the one that is replicant the history, how we are going to achieve Biafra by looking at the example, how every other people achieve their own nation. It is very imperative for you. For you that is watching this, you are the put on my stage to know that you are digging your grave, that to you are causing a problem to you. Run away from problem. If you do not do that, Biafra Constitution will catch you. Remember my words. When men and women undermine the truth, the consequence of the truth will be implemented on their body, and the severe pain will follow up. When you cry, Obra, be careful. P1. First reality. Forget that thing you are claiming. You go nowhere. Under USB, you must bow. At last, USB about a swangele, a kruangele. When you enter inside and spoil the water, you will still come back and fresh that water, like it or not. That is where we are. If a state accepts an asylum document issued by another government, B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. Any country today that is accepting, when you capture any Biafran and Biafran government will send documents and that country will accept the document to issue to grant you asylum. What are we building? It's not even only on you that you are saving that country. The USB is building what? Customary legal relationship is created between those two entities, between USB and Japan, between USB and Ireland, between USB and Australia, between USB and every other country that has accepted our asylum document. It's not between you. I want you to see clearly. And I want to understand what you have been missing and what this government stands for and why you must follow this government. The host country become a legal bounding by its own president is to appeal making it extremely difficult under international law for those host states to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standard. That now that Japan has accepted USB documents, no, if any country want to tell them that USB has no legal standard, they will said no, that they have a legal standard. The legal standard including the asylum document that was the letter of USB that leaves for the other countries in the world to give you asylum is proving that they said it what? Not me, not you. Look at how the world see it. Under this article, under Article 33 bracket 1 in bracket B of the Statutes of the International Court of Justice ICJ, how they describe it. It's not how you describe USB. It's not. If any state, any accept asylum document issued by Government-in-Exile, B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. Those host country become a legal bounding by its own president, Estopil, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standard. Are you following? And I hope we are making common sense. I hope that the way the thing that sweet me is the same way this is sweeting you, because of what USB declared that has all action, that has all criteria to become a nation. I hope you are following. I'm not the one. This is both under the ICJ, their law. Listen.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognitio tacita.
This implied what? Recognition. This is what they call the facto recognition that leads to the jure recognition, and under this, no country will ever say that USB did not have a legal standard structure. Hey.
The host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech. Recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law.
Now, what it means under the international law, when the USB governments help you with documents of USB to achieve asylum. Listen.
Status. Implied recognition. legally validates the exile government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ, jurisdiction, personal.
I hope you are following. Implied recognitions, sovereign status, legal validity, the exile government authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Are you hearing it? It's not about Ngozarabo, Fulani, USB recharge, USB terror, USB this and that. On that document, on all the documents that they are submitting, such a thing does not exist. Under international law, it does not. It only exists on your madman or madwoman mouth that's front to seek relevant, where you can never find. What you want is about Obia comes out, or he will sack COS. The Chiomo Koma will now become the COS. Then do to now, Madame Pole or Bakula. Abruziel, Minister of Information. Achiamo Noshi Udre Nashi Ozu or Nation. Because on China Biafra bo when you pay YouTube when you pay mastery. Pay YouTube when you feed. More after the election, you present yourself to become a saboteur. You become a sabotage. We are here watching this playing out. Let us how about Obia will come back and say, oh, we should all fall back to Brig. And they told that we should fall back to Brig. And since he was in court, he never mentioned it. And when he even defending USB, that he knew that Biafra was going to declare when he was in prison, he did not say, I told them to fall, they refused to fall back. Oh. I told them to not declare, they said they were going to declare. He accepted, he introduced to the federal government that Biafra was declaring their own territory. You are number 6. You don't have number 6. You are inner or blank is not working. That's why I said, National car brought one up, one brought one down, and don't got down for you. Sovereign status, what it means under international law. When the Biafrans does not have a paper, use USB document to secure asylum. Listen to what it means. Implement recognition, legal validity, the exile government or authority to act as a sovereign state organ. I hope you are listening. Jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction honored. Confirm the whole state view the exile government not the force in physical control of their homeland as the rightfully legally representative of those citizens, that we are legally representing our citizens, even though that our land was occupied by the enemies and the force of the evil ones. Everything USB is doing, you can set everything turning around for good. Do you believe in that? That everything is turning around for good for USB?
Jurisdiction honored. Confirms the host state views the exiled government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing, precedent established, creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
That is what it means. You have seen all it means when a Government-in-Exile issued a peaceful declaration. After that, they continue to issue what? They continue to issue documents proving to the world that this is a well-structured government. I will play it again. Listen. I will play 2 times before we dive into second session of today's program.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, Recognitio tacita. Even if the host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech, recognizing the legal validity of the exiled government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exiled government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exiled government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law, sovereign status, implied recognition. Legally validates the exiled government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction honored. Confirms the host state views the exiled government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing. Precedent established. Creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
I hope you are listening to the program. This is session 1 of this program. I want to put the link here in case if you have something to contribute from where you are working at this hour before I jump into session 2 of this our certificate of USB that we are asking everyone to take. You will understand what it means today. These two things is why we're this evening. So if you want to join me, there is a link there. You can join through the link. And when you join through the link, you already see what we are doing this evening. So you can comment and say what is in your mind also, but center it on what we are doing this evening. So the link is on the comment section from the YouTube in case you want to join us. I hope you understand, your mind is also settled. And those who recognize us, who agreed to accept our document and give up our asylum, you had it here that they are doing what? This is what they call de facto recognition. Why the Jew is coming. You know, when you are thinking on your own way, and that our own way is not how to achieve our own nation. We have used 27 years thinking our own way is not coming. Now I remember what Batobi said that like Nandi, unfortunately, we have to think for them to move on. You know that at this stage, that is only USB is working to restore Biafra as a nation through the legal means, not by what I feel, not what I want, not any other thing. It is very, very sacrosanct that you understand it. Like I said, before I go into second section, if you want to join us on this, you can join us, but let's play it again. Okay, no queer.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognitio tacita. Even if the host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech, recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b of the Statute of the International Court of Justice (ICJ), international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law, sovereign status, implied recognition. Legally validates the exile government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction honored. Confirms the host state views the exile government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing. Precedent established. Creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
I hope you can see. That is why now I believe that when they said once a lost country issued a redeclaration of their lost country, that they have transitioned to the international level. They have done what? Transition to what? To international level. Now, look at this ICJ. ICJ is a big international level. And from that place, that is where the word that you are listening this evening is coming from, under ICJ. What it means. When a government in exile, their citizen was arrested, another country is trying to deport their citizen, and the government sent a document of went in exile, and that document serves that citizen. He did no longer deport. He live in that country. That is what we're doing for you to see what USB is offering to you and why you must listen, why you have to, because had I know it's knocking on every door, the truth that you undermining today will come back to hurt you. That's why I'm calling on you. I don't want to continue to undermine this truth because you're gonna cry. Whatever you think you are doing today, whatever you think that you are doing today, I want you to be very careful because the law is here and nothing will change all these things. You can't have your cake and you can't eat a cake and have it back. Once you break your cake and eat it, there is no way it's going to be the same equal cake again. And in exam, you don't write exam and mark your exam by yourself. Those who mark our exam is the people that set every criteria, how we are going to achieve our nation. And the only thing you have to do is to follow their criteria. That is the only thing we're going to do. And now that we are flowing it, you can see how everything is working. Are you still doubting usually declared? Are you still doubting USB? What USB is doing, all these things I am reading out is not, no member of USB is the one writing all these things. I want you to know. And I sincerely want you to zero your mind. I want you to zero your mind. I want you to look at the right way. Forget that envy. Forget jealous. Forget apathy. And the focus on what will give us Biafra. Focus on supporting the government. The only criteria to achieve our nation. The only way. The only rights legal means. All these things that we are hearing is what we have been missing until Simon Ebanjoko bring us to this line. And our DPM stood firm to put an end point of all agitation, all movement. We are no longer in the movement. We are no longer in the struggle. We are now a nation. We are now what? A nation. Through what I just played this evening to you. I also want to tell you for free that whatever that is going on in Nigeria today is trying to undermine our documents, this legal document. That is what Nigeria is trying to do with all these things they are claiming. They are calling confab. They are calling for this. And that's why I told you, do not panic. So far in this world, that a government in exile is the only way. The government in exile, I mean, not a government that was organization, but a government in exile that's a pure government in exile. That one that issue a peaceful redeclaration. That is the one that the world, that is the one that the world are looking up to. And that is the one that made this criteria that we are reading out here. If you doubt it, go and use anything. Try to seek asylum. If they will deport you tomorrow. That is the one. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can go and try and see what will happen to you. Because when you think that's how you feel and what you and how you address it is how the world how Biafra will come. That is why I am telling you that all those things that you are thinking, that all those things that you are feeling, is not the way. I continue using my words. You can't eat your cake and have it back. You can eat your cake and have it back. And you can never be a judge over your case. You can never be a judge over your case. We can't be a judge over this our case. Is people out there. Is all this law is what will judge us. Is all these criteria is what we have to follow for us to achieve this our nation. And we are achieving it no matter how you are undermining it. I said what? No matter how you are undermining this truth. This truth that you undermining will hurt you. So, as we are moving into session 2 of this program today, I hope you have understand clearly. You have understand clearly what it means to have Biafra as a nation. Gentle, I see you from TikTok from here. Good evening. Can we hear you?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
You're welcome, my brother. The Kurag Mazi. Kurag. Okay. Thank you for that. So, now we are going to session 2 of today's program. That session 2 is all about, let me call it here, what do you understand? This birth certificate. You see this document that USB issued to every Biafran, whether in diaspora or in the homeland. You see the way the giving our people document to seek asylum, how the world recommended that document. Now, when it's come to issue this particular birth certificate that proving that you are a pure citizen of United States of Biafra, that is one thing that I want to give out this evening so you can know your stand. Now, you have seen what this document is all about. Now, I want you to let us go through to what the birth certificate, the national certificate is all about, and if there is any law that back this document up, and the why is very important, and if there is anything that this document can change into the Biafran recognition. I want you to understand it very clearly. That question I am answering this evening rely on the USB, and in the case of USB is a case of a lost nation. I said it's what? It's a case of what? Recognition. Because of what? It is a lost nation. Biafra, is it a new nation? The answer is no. Biafra is not a new nation. Said what? Biafra is not a new nation. Thank you so much, Gent from TikTok. Biafra is an old nation. What we are doing is to, when you paint an old house, it looks like a new one. That is what we are doing, you know. And whether you like it or not, there is nothing you can do about this. There is what? There is nothing you can do. Because of what? This is the only that thing. Where we are now is why Biafra has not become a country. Because many countries in 1960 to 1967 and furthermore, all of them transitioned to exile. And when they transition, the first thing they do is to form government-in-exile. The second one is what? To issue declaration or redeclare of their country. And from that redeclare, they have a document that triggers recognition. In that document is what they are going to send. Because now, you cannot send empty documents. And you cannot send protests. You can't send agitation. You can't send how many people that Nigeria has been paid. You can't write paper and say, we have been here before now. Ojukwu has declared this Biafra in 1967. And what happened? The Biafra is here a country. Do you know the word colors and found? We lost it. We need to bring it back. The word resurrection of Lazarus, what does it mean to you? We have resurrected who we are. Master Kanu said, until we redeem who we are. And how can we redeem who we are? It's through this a peaceful declaration. Under that declaration document, we are redeeming who we are to be a full citizen of the country titled United States of Biafra. I hope we are making common sense to you and you are grabbing. This is the pure truth. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about what you think, how you feel. It is about the... See, what you think it is legal in your eyes is illegal. What you feel that this is legal way in your own eyes is what? Is illegal. I am asking you, you only followed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You choose the words that favored you, and everything he said, you did not feel some of them because it does not favor you, right? Or you don't have idea to transition to that word he mentioned. I don't know whether is it the same Mazi Nnamdi Kanu you followed him, that told you and I, before they kidnapped him, 2021. One of his brokers, he said, a time will come when the Biafran people will form Government-in-Exile. And he said, when women in America join this movement, that Biafra has come. I want to ask you, what I'm saying, is it my own makeup story? What I am saying, is it my own makeup story? I am asking you. Do you ever heard from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that when a woman... Thank you.
You're saying the right thing.
Thank you, gentle. So I did not follow Mazi Nnamdi Kanu when I was in Southeast. I did not follow him to pick a word that will favor me, or pick what will make me become relevant in the eyes of the people, or pick what will make me to remain in position. No. Our problem in Biafra movement is what? Position. Onye fere ogbo si ogbo gbajie. Onye ogbachi ụzọ na ya abụgo ogidi gada. The ideology of Nigeria in terms of position is what many of you, that are so many of you today. It's also disturbing from IPOB, from Masob down to IPOB, from IPOB to autopilot, from autopilot to Brigi, from Brigi to usually declared. I am asking you this question. What is the word of transition mean to you? Let me ask you this question, or let me look at it as an example to you. Ibu nwafọ Igbo. Nna gị na mmadụ na-aza ala. Unfortunately, onye na-aza ala akwụọ ya achere ma ọ bụ pịa ya stroke ma mee ya unye ure, ọ dagboro ofu ebe. Na ọma mbilizi ọtọ, ọma nkwu okwu. Ala nwa ọ ga-ebe ebe ahụ nna gị kwudebere okwu ya ka ị ga-anọchebe otinye mgbe nna gị rachi agbake o wee bidebe okwu ala ka gị nwa asị dị ọkpara ya, ọ asị nwa mụ ihe, ọ asị nwa goturu ihe nna gị na-eme. Ị kwesịrị ịkwado buru ala ahụ, okwu ala na-aga n'iru ka ga-esu nụrụ ofu ebe fodu aka na-agwụ ya ọrịa, na-ekpe ekpere, na mgbe ọbụla o ji gbakee ka eje were ala ahụ nwoke kwube okwu. Ihe ị ga-eme asị onye Igbo, gịnị ka ị ga-eme? Thank you. Thank you, gentle. Ị ga-akwado gazoba ala anwa. Represent your father. Represent your family. Once you are a man. Otu a nke ọ dị n'okwu nwere onwe. Ojukwu ọya nwe Biafra. The answer is no. Ụwazurike ọya nwe Biafra. The answer is no. I am asking you. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ọya nwe Biafra. The answer is no. Simon Eba ọya nwe Biafra. The answer is no. Dr. Ngozi Orabeze, oya nwe Biafra. The answer is no. Kendi wo Biafra. Oh, kwa mụ na gị na-abụ. And ọsọsọ gị nwa bụ ndị kwegokwu nwere onwe menis hares. Gani sheki ya ihe ndị ya mere mgbe e nwudere maka ha ndị tia n'ụlọ nga. Gani check ya ihe ndị NHC under South Africa Nelson Mandela. Ga check n'ihe ha mere mgbe Nelson Mandela was in prison. Gakwa check ya ihe ndị Kenya mere mgbe eji their leader Jomo Kenyatta. Gani check ya ihe ndị Namibia mere mgbe South Africa ji their leader. Ka mara ihe na-eme onwe gị. Ngwa jizi sheki ya ka ị mara ihe ndị Bangladesh mere mgbe ejira ha man of Bangladesh. Ha fold ru aka kwuru ofu ebe wee na-eche. I am asking you, when South Africa arrested the leader of Namibia, put him in prison in Robben Island in South Africa, gịnị ka ndị na-eso Nelson Mandela mere? Ha foduru aka ma kwuru ofu ebe. Then they are waiting for Nelson Mandela to come south before they will continue any action. When Magahandi of India was arrested, put behind the bars by the Britain, those who believe in the same ideology he is fighting for, what is their work? What are they doing? Did they wait for Magahandi to come south and continue before they will do anything? I am asking you. I am asking you this question that I want you to ask yourself. Gịnị mere nna gị ji wee mụọ gị? Why did your father give birth to you? You got married and give birth to another child. Why? Why na ikwuo na nna m amụtago m na ozu na-achọ ozikwa ịmụta ụmụazị ọzọ na this family? Why na ikwuro na ebe ọ bụ na nna m amụtago m na ma amụta ụmụazị ọzọ na this family? Gịnị mekwana iji wee kwure wee ga lụọ nwaanyị ịmụzienu nke gị n'azụ ha? Ma abịazi n'okwu nwere onwe nke Biafra, ọ bụrụ na ọ bụ ụwazi ike, onye ọzọ bụ Sabo. Ọ bụrụ na ọ bụ Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, onye ọzọ bụ Sabo. Ọ bụrụ na ọ bụ Simon Ịba, ọ ga-abịa. Mmadụ emepe ọnụ ya, Ikenguru Agose, Simon, if I said you are not doing the right thing, I am a mad person. But stop, you are running speed. Because the speed will end the eating money of the Biafran people. The speed will end the money they are eating. The speed will end the position they occupied, claiming that you are fighting for Biafra for you. That is why they don't want it. Ikenguru, don't even Ikenguru said, Simon Ebanjoko, if I said you are not doing it well, he pulled his cap. I am a madman. But stop. How are you telling something good that is happening to stop happening? You want the bad one to continue happening. Check yourself. Check yourself very well. Because I have checked myself and start asking questions. Try to understand everything that is happening in this movement that we are into. For those who fall back in Brigi, tell me the difference between what we are doing and what IPOB, who is waiting for Maazị Nnamdi Kanu to come south to come and continue. I am asking you. He said you are from Briggy, your name is Oge Nkere, you represent Sonny Akwarawa. That is why I told you, Oge Nkere and Sonny Akwarawa remain automobile mechanic Government-in-Exile. Sonny Akwarawa repairing phone in Keved. Oge Nkere Panebita in Baltimore. Yes, so it's them. But today, where are they? Go on, my brother.
Because now our financial secretary, because now our financial secretary, coach, where they see very many of our people, they see very many on ground. And I bushes here ka bingo skater. They go there. And they using our Nigerian government.
Yes.
After everything, we still glorify God. We still glorify God that many men are capable to join military now. We have thousands of military waiting for command now. Forget all those things that they are doing there. Amecha, Agaguma, Afichia, and Izugedeba. Some of them are now coming back to Simon Ekpa. They led Ogenkere. They made him prime minister, but they have now left him. Ogenkere don't have any, as in, he is very shameful to come out on social media and say anything now. Last time broadcast on us, Nekiana or Nayama Prime Minister and Kankanka, which everything is clear. Rapunda and down government agent, but kind of just and preach go to the word of USB ever. Or Acholum Kone with the promotion. Imagine after everything, I got work on.
Exactly. So, as we are proceeding inside session 2 of this program, we are moving into session 2. The Biafra we are under USB is no longer just a Biafra. It is a Biafra under all international law that protects the government of USB. It's not about what you think. It's not about how you feel. It's not about me. It's not about you. It is about that there is existing protocol. There is existing template that has been there. This template set in 1941 before the 1949 that Belgium was the first country ever that have used this Government-in-Exile to achieve their own nation. When they lost their nation in the hands of Germany and Soviet Union, these are those that lost their country. And what happened? They stand on existing template. They stand on existing protocol. They stand on the law. They do not stand on themselves of what they think, how they feel, and what they do not know. And today, the USB from the 1967 to the 18th of November, sorry, to the 28th of November 2024, we are on a wrong path and on a wrong journey. Let me tell you this for free before I continue. When I was in Homeland, we are following every protest. We was in war when men fall. And we are singing, dancing. After that, when Mazen can release, he went to 5 states for protest. He went to Owerri, Anambra, Enugu, Akwa Ibom. He went to all these states, and I followed. Men fall. Men was arrested. You know, sometimes you will leave the protest going on your convoy. For you to drop on the bus stop, police will grab you. Many are still even in prison. And when I was on protest, the last one, we visited Ebube Monso. I was there. I was singing, dancing those music, protesting that with under this protest, that one day, that America or Israel or UN or international community will organize that Biafra has become a nation. I never knew that I was just making noise. I never knew that I was just making noise. That we are just, yes. No, we are no longer in the struggle. We are now on a diplomatic recognition. That is where we are.
Thank you,
that is where we are. When you look at everything that is happening today, that is when you will know that the time has come that Biafra is a nation. It's not by any human being. I want to first give you evidence in the history of Government-in-Exile, those countries that lost their nation, that redeclared their nation. Listen to this. What is that your name in TikTok? Look at your name itself is a disgrace. Your name proves that you're not a Biafran. I want to do this because of you. Just calm down, listen. I want to give you up to 6 or 10 countries that lost their country. So you will see how Belgium used Government-in-Exile to achieve their nation. I am not doing what I am not doing anything that I did not research. If you had done research, I don't do program. That's what I do. So listen to this.
In public international law, issuing a redeclaration of independence or an act of restoration of statehood relies on the legal doctrine of state continuity. This principle asserts that a nation's sovereignty never ceased to exist legally, even during decades of illegal foreign occupation, annexation, or exile, because an illegal act cannot destroy a nation's sovereign right. Ex injuria jus non oritur. Throughout modern history, several nations declared statehood, lost their independence to foreign powers or illegal annexations, maintained exile or underground legal continuity, issued formal redeclarations of independence, and ultimately achieved full global recognition. Major historical examples of redeclared statehood: 1. The Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. First independence 1918, loss of statehood 1940, illegally annexed by the USSR following the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Exile continuity, maintained diplomatic missions abroad, e.g. in Washington, London, and the Vatican, and exile legations that were continuously recognized by Western nations under the Stimson Doctrine of Non-Recognition. The Redeclaration, Lithuania, Act of the Re-establishment of the State of Lithuania, March 11, 1990. Estonia and Latvia, Declarations of Restoration of Independence, May 1990, August 1991. Outcome: the Baltic states explicitly refused to register as new post-Soviet states. They redeclared legal continuity with their 1918 republics. The international community and the UN recognized them based on their PRE 1940 legal status, preserving pre-war treaties and property rights. 2. Poland. First independence, 1569, Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Loss of statehood.
Poland, the almighty Poland you're hearing today, lost their country in 1569. They redeclare it again. Listen.
1895, completely erased from the map following the third partition between Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Exile and resistance, maintained constitutional committees, exile legations in France, and national uprisings.
You hear where Poland was in exile? Poland was in exile. We are in France.
Yes.
Government-in-Exile in France.
1918, proclamation of the re-establishment of the Polish Republic by Józef Pilsudski following World War I. Outcome: Poland successfully restored its legal identity after 123 years of total occupation,
Are you hearing
achieving
it?
immediate international recognition and UN founding membership status later. 3. Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic and Slovakia. First independence, October 1918. Declaration of Independence drafted in Washington, D.C. Loss of statehood. 1938-1939, dismantled by Nazi Germany following the Munich Agreement. Exile continuity. President Edvard Beneš established the Czechoslovak government in exile in London.
Are you hearing it? They established their government in exile were in London. They established what government in exile were in London from 1939 to 1945. How many years that there was in exile?
1939 to 1945. The Redeclaration, 1945. Decrees of the President, COSIS program declaring the legal restoration of the pre-war republic. Outcome. The Allied powers recognized the exiled government as the continuous legal authority, nullifying Nazi annexations and fully restoring the nation post-World War II. 4. Kuwait. First independence, 1961. Loss of statehood, August 1990. Invaded and declared province 19 inches by Ba'athist Iraq. Exile continuity. The Emir and the legal Kuwaiti cabinet established a formal government in exile in Taif, Saudi Arabia. The Redeclaration, October 1990. Jeddah Congress resolution, reaffirming constitutional governance and national sovereignty. Outcome. UN Security Council Resolution 660 declared the Iraqi annexation null and void. Following coalition action in February 1991, the government in exile returned to Kuwait City with full legal continuity intact. 5. France. Free France. First independence, 843 AD, modern republic, 1792. Loss of effective control, 1940, fall of Paris and establishment of the Vichy collaborationist regime. Exile continuity, General Charles de Gaulle established France Libre, Free France in London, which evolved into the Provisional Government of the French Republic, GPRF. The Redeclaration, Ordinance of August 9, 1944, re-establishing republican legality. Outcome. De Gaulle explicitly declared that the French Republic had never ceased to exist legally, nullifying all acts of the Vichy regime and regaining permanent status on the UN Security Council. Core principles required for Redeclaration success. Comparing these historical precedents reveals why certain Redeclarations succeeded internationally while others failed. Undeviating legal continuity. Successful states base their Redeclaration on unbroken constitutional lineage, e.g. pre-occupation constitutions or continuous exile legations, rather than creating a brand new entity. Rejection of unlawful occupation. International law, ex injuria jus non oritur, protects a state's legal existence if its loss of territory resulted from foreign military aggression or treaty breaches. Institutional completeness. All successful cases featured a organized executive body, government in exile or internal parliamentary council, capable of assuming immediate administrative control upon liberation.
I hope you are listening to countries that lost their nation and they issued what? First, immediately they lost their nation, they transitioned to exile. Once they transitioned, they formed official government in exile. I heard it, all of them they mentioned here. They issued what? They issued the declaration. They remain in exile until they achieve document recognition from other countries in the world. And they came back and do what? Take over their territory. Now, I am doing checking roundup program today. I want to also play to you countries that also was in exile and how they transition, in what year, and the year they formed the organization, the year of recognition or the year of government in exile, and also the year they achieved recognition. Listen to this.
5 notable organizations transitioned from political councils, liberation movements, or parliamentary committees into formal governments in exile, issued declarations of statehood independence, and achieved international recognition.
Now, I want to say something here. 5 notable organizations transition from political council, liberation movement, or parliamentary committee into a formal government in exile, issue declaration or redeclare of a statehood of independence, and achieve international recognition. They did what? They achieve what? International recognition. Who are these countries? Listen. 1. Organization name. Year founding this organization. Transition to government in exile. Peaceful declaration and year of international recognition. Now, listen fully.
Organization name, year founded, transition to government in exile, 1916 political council, 1954 FLN movement, 1958 Proclamation of Independence, Washington Declaration.
Now, they first give us what? Number 1 example, Czechoslovakia. It was formed political council organization, 1916 is when they formed the organization. Then in 1918, they transitioned to government in exile. In 1918, they transitioned to government in exile. Then in the same 1918, they issue peaceful declaration where in Washington, D.C., U.S., is where they form the government in exile. Is where they do what? They form the what? The government in exile. Now, after making that declaration in 1918, then in the same 1918 December, they achieve what? Recognition. Who are those that recognize them? France, UK, US, and Italy grant them what? Recognition. These are those that grant them what? Recognition. Because of what? They transition to exile. When they transition, they was operating as an organization from the 1916 then to 1918. They form official government in exile January. Then between July, they issue declaration. After issuing the declaration in Washington, D.C., they are in exile in U.S. Then in 1918, they achieve what? All international recognition by countries like France, UK, US, and Italy grant them what? The due recognition, and they come back and take over their territory. They are number 1. The number 2, Professional Government of Algeria Republic, GPRA, is what they started. Then, in 1954 of the Algeria in Africa, the name of the organization is what? FLN Movement. FLN Movement is the name of the organization. Then, in 1958, they form government in exile. They transition in exile where? Their government was where? In Angola, Tunisia, Zimbabwe. Is where the people of Algeria form their government in exile. They are no longer using organization. They after forming government in exile in 1958. Then in 1958, August 10, they issued declaration of their nation in exile to be out of France, who was the oppressor then. Then, in 1961 to 1962, what happened? These countries achieved recognition from over 30 countries. Then in 1962, precisely, then you recognize them as a country. This is what they called what? Transition. They have transitioned to exile. As they transition to exile, they did what? They issued declaration. They issued declaration through government in exile. From there, they achieved recognition. Today, Algeria is a country in Africa. Now, let us leave Algeria, go to Palestine Liberation Organization. When did Palestine form the organization? Palestine formed organization 1964 and is what? PLO. People's Liberation Movement in 1964. They formed the organization. Then, towards 1964, they are using the organization until 1988. They form a government in exile. They did what? They form government where? In exile. And where was the exile government of Palestine? All the way from Palestine, they are in exile in Tunisia. Tunisia is where Palestine was in exile. Then the same 1988, Palestine issued declaration of their nation. After that, after 6 months of their declaration in 1988, over 80 countries organized them. Then 2012, UN granted them recognition. You see their transition, see how they moved. And I want you to know one thing, that when this movement was taken, their leaders was in prison. Who arrested the leader of Palestine? Israel. Who arrested the leader of the Algeria? South France was the one arrested the leader of Algeria. Czechoslovakia was arrested by oppressor in their own time. And they continue. What of Syria? Syria formed an organization called Coalition of Council in 2012. Is when Syria went to exile and they formed the organization, not exile. Then 2013, Syria formed in exile and call it what? Interim Government of Syria is the name of the government in exile they use. Then the same 2013, they issued their declaration of unity and democratic transition in their own. Then 2014/2013, Syria achieved recognition from the GCC, the Arab League, and up to 100 nations as legitimate representative grant them recognition. This is transition of Syria. What of Burma? The UN, the National Coalition of Government, in 1988, they formed their government, they formed organization in 1988. Then, in 1990, they formed government in exile. In 1990, they formed their own government in exile. The same 1990, they issued declaration. After 1 year of their declaration, they achieved recognition from different countries in the world for them to become a country, including UN recognizing them in 1992. This is our what? 5 countries. These 5 countries I mentioned here, all their leaders was in prison. All their leader was in prison. What helps them? Until those that outside and formed in exile that issued declaration or redeclare, until they achieve recognition. As they achieve the recognition, what happened? The world, as they achieve declaration, the world grant them recognition. That is why I always use this word. If there is no government in exile to issue, redeclare, or declaration, there will be no recognition of Biafra as a country. With all these transition and examples of other countries that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said for Biafra to come, that we must replicate the history of Syria, Yemen, and Somalia. I don't know if you had such a word from the mouth of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I don't know. That we must replicate the history of Syria, Yemen, for Biafra to come. And today, that history of Syria, Yemen, Somalia has been replicated in our own time by the Government-in-Exile being formed by Simon Ebanjoko as he was arrested, like when Magahandi, Rahiman of Bangladesh, Joe Makenheta of Kenya, Adebu of Ojiri of Namibia was arrested. And what these men has done in the past is what our DPM, Dr. Ngozi Arabeze, has achieved in this from 29th of November 2024, because here you also had a time they formed the organization, you have a time they transition to Government-in-Exile, you have also a date they issued their declaration, you have a date they achieved their recognition. And the history of Syria and Yemen, Somalia, all this has been replicant, or we have repeated all this history from Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who said for Biafra to come that we must repeat all this history. We must do what? We must repeat all this history for us to achieve our own nation. And you are here. That history has been repeated, and we are doing that. And what you can do is to be insulting yourself. And what you can do is to be messing up. For that reason, I want to play you the punishment that Ghana and the US give to those that was against the Declaration of US 1776. Also, the punishment that Ghana gave to their own citizen that was against their declaration 1957, March 6th. I am playing all these things for those who is insulting, abusing, usually declared, and they are doubting this government. That is why I'm playing this for you to see by yourself that is what you are bringing to yourself in this 21st century, that you're supposed to wise up, that Anna brought to it up, Anna brought to it down. He decided that he brought ways as a chararo, Ochiga Kwazo, Turu anymore, poto. I will start with a Ghanaian punishment to those that was against their declaration.
Yes. He can edit on you, just so if you are in this life, I'm not going in this life, or just need to comment section ever.
No,
so don't only people. These are the people that are begging like a majority people. I just pick the just in here one check or not so but I comment a little. I just check a profile on your own, any video, nothing. I just need to follow get him up and down.
Don't worry.
This person
yes, I have done the needful. He cannot even comment again. The Mugu is out. So, at the middle of this program, at this stage, like I said, I am going to play all these punishments that African countries give to those that was against declaration, to those that was never believed in what Ghana achieved in 1957, those that did not believe in what US achieved in 1776. Why am I playing? For you to know that such a thing is happening. That whatever you may think today, And whatever you are looking at it today, that all these things that you undermining this truth will come back to play a headline note to you when you will try to have Biafra and they will tell you no, and you will face a very severe punishment because of you castigating this USB we declared. So please listen to this punishment from Ghana government again. Listen to this.
Kwame Nkrumah and the Convention People's Party, CPP, implemented strict legal, political, and penal measures to suppress opposition groups, primarily the Ashanti-backed National Liberation Movement, NLM, Iwi activists in Togoland, and the Northern People's Party. The Special Court of No Appeal, the tribunal frequently referred to as the Court of No Appeal, was formerly known as the Special Criminal Division of the High Court, established via the Criminal Procedure, Special Criminal Division, Act of 1961, and expanded under the 1963 Amendment. Structure and jurisdiction. Designed specifically to try cases of high treason, sedition, and political offenses, such as assassination plots like the 1962 Kulungugu bombing targeting Nkrumah. No jury and in-camera proceedings. Trials were held without a jury and were frequently conducted in camera, behind closed doors hidden from the public and press, inside the Supreme Court building and Christiansburg Castle at Osu. Absolute non-appealable verdicts. Under the law establishing this court, there was no right of appeal to any higher judicial body. Decisions were final. Executive overrule. When a three-judge panel led by Chief Justice Sir Aku Korsa acquitted three prominent politicians, Tawiah Adamafio, Ako Adje, and Kofi Crab, of treason in December 1963, Nkrumah immediately dismissed the Chief Justice, declared the court's judgment null and void, and reconstituted the special court with a single judge, Justice Sarkodie Adu, and a selected 12-man panel. The defendants were retried, found guilty, and sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment. Full range of punishments imposed. Beyond the special court, the state deployed several legal mechanisms to punish political opponents. Preventive detention without trial, 1958 PDA. The Preventive Detention Act empowered the government to arrest and jail anyone suspected of acting against state security for up to 5 years, later extended to 10 years, without formal charges or trial. Over 2,000 citizens were jailed. Prominent founding fathers like Dr. J.B. Dankwa and Emmanuel Obetsebi Lamti died under harsh conditions in Ensawam medium security prison. Deportation and stripping of citizenship. The Deportation Act of 1957 allowed the state to expel any person deemed not in the interest of the public good. Although intended for non-citizens, it was routinely used against Ghanaian political opponents by stripping them of their citizenship rights. Outlawing political parties. The Avoidance of Discrimination Act of 1957 banned political parties organized along regional, ethnic, or religious lines. By 1964, a referendum turned Ghana into a legal one-party state, making opposition entirely illegal. Deposition of chiefs, opposition paramount chiefs, especially in Ashanti, were stripped of official state recognition, had their traditional stool revenues seized, and were replaced by government loyalists. Estimated numbers forced into exile. Exact figures vary because many crossed porous borders informally, but records document the following migration totals. Togo border exile, 1958 to 1961. French Togoland, later the Republic of Togo, documented approximately 5,700 registered political refugees who fled eastern Ghana following the 1957 Togoland plebiscite disputes and post-independence roundups. Prominent leaders and intellectuals, top opposition figures, including opposition leader Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia, who fled in 1959, and intellectual leaders of the United Party, UP, fled to Western Europe, primarily the UK, and neighboring West African states to establish anti-Nkrumah exile coalitions. Overall estimates. Scholars and historical records estimate that between 6,000 and 10,000 Ghanaian citizens fled into exile between 1957 and the 1966 military coup that ousted Nkrumah.
I hope this is a punishment. This is what punishment that Ghana give to their citizens that was against what? Declaration. Today, you are doing your shenanigan. You are doing your charade, and you're happy over it. That is why I use the word. He who laughed last, laughed the best. Whether I like it or not. I said what? Whether you like it or not, he who laughed last, love the best. Please, if you join us from YouTube, I want you to like, comment, and share, subscribe. If you're on TikTok, please follow us for more and tap your screen to like the program. That is only what you can offer to this program, please. So let us go to the program of the day. That is where we are going. I will start from the to remind you, when any time, any year, you had that USB as a nation, as a government, send a document that lead that someone, a Biafran, who's supposed to deport back to Nigeria, that he was not deported because of your document. I want you to know how the world will see that document that USB is sending. It's not the way you are seeing it, is the way that the government of that country is seeing it. And under international law, that is how they see such a thing. It's a high time you stop thinking that that's your ideology and how you, what you think is the way, this is the, no. Let us follow the due process. So, listen to this.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that...
It is what? A privilege. And they mention what? Jus imperii, the law that guides it all. Because when they allow you to think, when they allow you to say how you feel, that is why you are doing those things. But when this thing comes to the legal straight line, you find that how you think is a totally mistake. And we are not making. That is why the US focus on this legal document.
That's an asylum document issued by an exile body, effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognitio tacita, even if the host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech. Recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, international law is created not just by written treaties, but by state practice coupled with opinio juris, the belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law, sovereign status, implied recognition. Legally validates the exile government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction honored. Confirms the host state views the exile government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing, precedent established. Creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
I hope you are listening. That is why I told you the Biafra has become on a top level to the all international apparatus, they like it or not. So let us go to this. I want you to listen to this as we proceed, if network will allow us to go. So it is very, very important that I want you to understand what USB stands for and why you must accept to be a bona fide citizen, a proud citizen of the USB declared. This is our own. Now we have a nation. We're no longer making noise anymore.
When an exiled government or political movement has not yet achieved formal international recognition, it cannot issue documents that derive power from traditional international law. Because third-party countries do not legally recognize its authority, standard foreign border agencies will reject its self-printed national passports. Before achieving formal diplomatic recognition, an exile body typically when a recognized government in exile issues documents to its citizens living abroad, the exact legal terms depend on whether the document is meant for basic identity, foreign travel, or civil status. 1. Diplomatic and national passports. If foreign governments officially recognize the exile body as the legitimate legal government of that state.
Hey, please, 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute, my people. Just give me 1 minute.
Document issued is an official/national passport. Historical example. During World War II, the Polish, Norwegian, and Dutch governments in exile operated out of London and continued to issue standard national passports to their citizens abroad. Foreign host nations accepted these passports for entry, residence, and employment. Cold War example. The Baltic legations, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, maintained diplomatic missions in Washington, D.C., and European capitals for over 50 years after Soviet annexation. They issued pre-occupation national passports to exile communities, which were legally honored by countries adhering to the non-recognition policy. 2. Consular certificates and registration cards. For administrative matters, exiled governments issue documents through their overseas consular offices or emergency diplomatic missions. Consular registration certificate formally records an individual in exile as a citizen under the jurisdiction of the exile government. Emergency travel document, laissez-passer. A temporary single-journey document issued when a standard passport cannot be printed or renewed abroad. Civil status certificates, birth, marriage and heritage certificates issued under the authority of the exile government's legal code to preserve citizenship continuity across generations. 3. Diplomatic identity cards. For officials and military personnel representing the government in exile abroad, diplomatic passports, issued to members of the exile cabinet, ambassadors and official envoys. Letters of credence, lettres de créance. Formal diplomatic credentials presented by the exile government's diplomats to host states to exercise legal consular authority. What happens when an exile body lacks formal recognition? If the issuing entity is an exiled group or new movement that host nations do not officially recognize as a de jure government, third-party states will not accept its self-issued national passports. In these cases, international law provides alternative international legal instruments instead. Refugee travel documents. Issued by host countries under the 1951 Refugee Convention, certificates of identity/foreigner passports. Special travel papers issued by host governments allowing stateless individuals or exiled citizens to move internationally. Historical precedent, Nansen passports. Created by the League of Nations in 1922 to provide an internationally recognized identity document for hundreds of thousands of refugees who were rendered stateless after their home governments fell or stripped them of citizenship.
I hope you are listening, but I'm coming because I want you to get the real point. So, when all these things that USB is bringing to the Biafran cities right now, all of them is pushing for something very, very sacrosanct for us that leads to recognition. That's what I said. What that leads to recognition. Because all these things is what we have never achieved in over all these years. So, now, like I said, I want you to pay attention from now. After playing this audio, we went into proper analysis where every layman will understand, even those in the homeland, because this certificate is very important.
When a lost nation's government in exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follows it with the issuance of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates, international law treats these actions through specific, interconnected legal concepts. 1. The legal effect of a peaceful redeclaration. A peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of self-determination under Article 1.2 of the United Nations Charter. Declaration of Intent. The Redeclaration serves as formal notice to the international community that the lost nation considers its historical legal identity unbroken. Non-violent claim. Issuing a declaration peacefully signals adherence to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of disputes. UN Charter Article 2.3. 2. Legal status of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates. The legal weight of the certificates depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal, human rights, or state-to-state perspective. Internal legitimacy and self-determination. Issuing heritage and nationality papers establishes a formal civil registry for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a nationality. This protects citizens from statelessness and documents their continuous connection to their national identity. Sovereignty and statehood tests. Montevideo Convention. Under Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention 1933, statehood requires a permanent population, defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. The issuance of nationality certificates documents the permanent population element. However, without physical, administrative control over the defined territory of the homeland, international law classifies these certificates as de jure, legal claim, rather than de facto, enforceable state power. Consular and extraterritorial validity, Vienna Convention. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, sovereign identity documents carry legal weight abroad only when recognized by host countries. If foreign border agencies, banks, and foreign courts have not formally extended recognition to the exiled issuing body, the certificates serve as symbolic/cultural identity documents, rather than legally binding travel passports or municipal records. Summary matrix, legal dimension, legal standing under international law, self-determination and identity. Pi. Preserves cultural heritage, prevents statelessness, and records population census. Internal mandate. Strong. Demonstrates active governance and social contract between the exile body and its people. International state enforcement. Conditional. Requires formal recognition by third-party sovereign nations to be legally binding for foreign travel, trade, or court jurisdiction.
I hope you are getting clearly why anywhere you are in the world, and from that treaty that fought for Biafran war, if you are from there, I urge you to do what? I want you to understand this program, what this certificate represents in the eyes of the national law. This certificate that USD has issued, that everyone, if we are asking you to achieve your own, is always speaking in a loud voice. It has already spoken in a loud voice for many countries. This speaks as what? They call it what? The starting of the Jure recognition, which is the highest one. Please go and take your birth certificate so you can be able to go home.
When a lost nation's government-in-exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follows it with the issuance of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates, international law treats these actions through specific, interconnected legal concepts. 1. The legal effect of a...
I hope you see how... You see, it's not about you who is a one Nigeria, or you are in IPOB, you are Masob, you are this. The level you never operate in this life, when we are in struggle, is what the government is operating from now. That is what the government is operating on it. That is what they are bringing to those things you cannot be able to bring. Those maps you don't have, those territory you don't have, we have them. When a lost nation's government-in-exile issued a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follow it with the insurance of sovereign nationality and the heritage certificate, the national law treats the actions through specific interrogatory legal consent. Not just to treat them, but there will be a law. And on that law is what they use to treat USB. And that is why we are making headway anywhere we enter today. Now, the legal effect of a peaceful redeclaration.
Peaceful redeclaration. A peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of self-determination under Article 1.2 of the United Nations Charter. Declaration of intent. The redeclaration serves as formal notice to the international community that the lost nation considers its historical legal identity unbroken.
Are you hearing it? A peaceful redeclaration is an ascension of self-determination under Article 1 in bracket 2 of the United Nations Charter. Is it what is in line with the almighty countries and the United Nations Charter is what you are abusing yourself on it and messing yourself up? Like I always said, continue. Do not stop. Continue what you are doing. Never you stop. Declaration of intent. The redeclaration serves as a formal notice to the international community that the lost nation consider its history, legal identity unbroken. That is why it's the reason why you must redeclare it. And the word is making it open for us to understand it. This is what a notification that a lost nation has emerged in the world. And what happened? They said, non-violent claim, issued declaration, peaceful, signed, adhering to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of the dispute, UN Charter Article 2 in bracket 3. There is many laws that back USB up. And in order all this law is where we are at this time. Can't you see why we must do everything through peaceful way? Why we must do everything this way we are doing it right now? The only best way to achieve Biafra as a nation.
Violent claim. Issuing a declaration peacefully signals adherence to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of disputes. UN Charter Article 2.3. 2. Legal status of sovereign.
I hope you are listening about this. Imagine what we just did. That gets a backup from the UN Charter. And it's our right. And that's peaceful declaration proving what? Non-violent claim. Non-what? Non-violent restoring Biafra as a nation through a legal means. Legal status of sovereignty, sovereign nationality, heritage certificate. The legal weight of the certificate depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal human rights or state-to-state perspective. Why? If it's under organization, nothing. They call it what? Internal human rights is what we are representing. The matter dies when you bring it up. But when it is under what? Or state to state, you prove that you a state, I prove that I'm a country, then we talk. Whether exile or not. That is why the people always said our lives are there, doing what they're supposed to do, waiting for the right time to hit the nail. The legal weight of the certificate depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal human right or a state-to-state perspective. You see how the world, you see the road that people has passed in the past, and now we are on the same road for us to pass as our own nation.
Nationality and heritage certificates. The legal weight of the certificates depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal, human rights, or state-to-state perspective. Internal legitimacy and self-determination. Issuing.
Internal what? Legitimacy and self-determination is where we are, and that is when the whole game will end. Because of what? There is no other way. There is no easy access except this way. issue a heritage and nationality papers, establish a formal civil register for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the UN Charter of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to nationality. This protects citizens from the senseless and the documents the constituted connection to their national identity. There is one thing about here that I want you to follow up. What is that? That is the word internal legitimacy, self-determination. That is the areas I want you to be looking at. And all this is under what? Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that we have our right to issue a peaceful declaration or another thing. That is why we are doing this program, for you to know the impact of these certificates that the government is asking you to take, and we are here to tell you that I myself has filled my form, was achieved my own. What are you still waiting? You are there in the movement, because when over 30 to 40 to 50 million Biafrans accept this ID card, one, it is automatically what? Self-referendum. It is also the only way to prove that Biafra, that this government has people that they are commanding. So that's why I'm telling you, for you to know that education is not a crime. It's not. And that is where we are moving. Let's go.
Heritage and nationality papers establishes a formal civil registry for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a nationality. This protects citizens from statelessness and documents their continuous connection to their national identity.
Are you hearing it?
Sovereignty and statehood tests. Montevideo Convention.
Now,
Under Article
we
1,
have land where sovereignty and state test Montevideo Convention. Under Article 1, why are they doing this to us? Because of this certificate of the UN we declared that the government have issued out, and we are here to tell you, go and have your own. It is your right to prove that you are a citizen of a country. Brig is not a citizen of a country. Brig is not a country. CRC, PUC, they are not a country. IPOB is not a country. One can pray for unnegotiable Republic of what? Biafra. Not unnegotiable IPOB. Not unnegotiable Brig, but unnegotiable Republic of what? Biafra.
Montevideo Convention 1933, statehood requires a permanent population, defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states.
Are you hearing it? Now, under Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention of 1933, statehood requires a permanent population. That's why I told you, you taking this ID card also proving what? A permanent population. Odogwanyane, may I see you. Thank you so much. You're going to be pleased if you can like our program and also share it. Thank you for seeing you on TikTok. Statehood required a what? A permanent population. Defined territory. Now, if only this certificate is on this level, what is holding you to have it? Do you really sure? Are you sure you want Biafra as a country? Said, are you very, very much alive that what you want is Biafra as a country? Listen to the Montevideo Convention, because everything that is happening here, the government of USB is making it possible for us. Everything. There is no time to waste. Now that we're on this right track, that is why I'm calling on you to do what? To Feel this. You can use one email to serve over 100 people. Nothing mega. We have our government. And now you can see the work of a government. He said what? You can see the work of what government at this time. And the government are doing everything they need to do to restore this our lost nation. I don't know what we are still waiting for. Please, if you're on YouTube, you can join us through the link, because after our analysis, we may wind down. That is why I put the link again.
The issuance of nationality certificates documents the permanent population element. However, without physical, administrative control over the defined territory of the homeland, international law classifies these certificates as de jure, legal claim, rather than de facto, enforceable state power. Consular.
Now, this is another set of this program I want to listen. The issue of nationality certificate document, the permanent population elements. However, without fiscal administrative control over defense territory of the homeland, the national law classify this certificate as the due de facto recognition. This is when we have up to 40 million Biafrans to 50. The UN and all their law grant it as what? As a classified certificate and as the due recognition. This is the last one that we're waiting for. The use that we are holding this Biafra to become a nation. You are holding, when you refuse to accept this ID card, we refuse to accept, when you refuse to accept this particular certificate that USB has issued right now. I have Mazi in our building. Please, God is with me. You can have the mic. Thanks so much for joining us. There is checking from your side.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. You're welcome to the program. Now you
say
loud and clear. We are
Hello.
hearing loud and clear. Loud and clear. I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you also hear me? Then go out and come back
again. I can hear you now.
Okay. If you can move on. Continue.
Okay. I can hear you now.
My brother, Maz,
okay. No problem. I just more but I can say come back before network or just can't get before network. I'm because I'm very side ever.
I'm
from Holland.
I know. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I swear.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your good work. You are doing very well. I'm a follow. As now working for sometimes a man, but I'm more na studio. I'm a follow. Now free name. So I've also applied for my certificate. Man, I never went apply. I just apply. I never went apply.
After 7 days or sometimes 14 days, me I already applied my own. I never got it. So that is only the thing. You got it in due time.
Hello?
I say for now I never have my own, and you will receive your own in due time. Your network is very bad. Maybe you will go back and hear from me from the comment section, please. The network is very bad like that. Can you hear me? Network. So let's continue, my people. Let us continue. Before maybe network, he will go out and come back again. So network will allow him to talk. Now, this certificate of USB declared is what we are telling you, that over 30 million to 40 million Biafrans is what the automatic network. I know it's network. Yeah, Mars, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, you can go on. Because we are hearing you.
Yeah, yes. Now I go apply for my certificate, man. I went by to apply for. So I'm still waiting for the
Yes.
reply.
Yes. I am on my own. I also applied, but I never get any reply. They will do it in their due time because there is many work that they are doing.
Oh,
So everybody should exercise patience with the
okay, no.
government, have it in their own way. That is it.
Okay, so must Monday use what is any email. Make indoors, Abby.
Yes, you get yeah, mere mother rich or mere non your house. You get mere mother rich.
Okay, okay. I
Yeah.
open Mazda. Why I don't make all Mazda, Abby?
What the God, yes, because that certificate you are more for can do anybody now. Of my Nigeria idea. I'm more for every certificate, so it's for everybody.
Okay, because
But once
my
it
my
must be
children.
from 90 years. From 90 years above.
Okay,
Yes. That is it.
okay, no problem. Thank you for your good work. Network, so we must network. Yeah,
No
the
problem. No,
Batakwa na studio.
no problem with those, but I understand it clearly. Understand.
Thank you. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So what we are saying this evening is this: that this certificate is what they said. This is what classify this certificate as the Jure recognition legal claim rather than de facto enabler state power. So what is here? For you to see, remember I told you there is a two type of recognition: the small one, the facto; the big one, the Jure recognition. Once you help this government to have this ID card and give the members of your family, encouraging people to come and have their own, believe me, I'm telling you something that at this stage that we are into, if you are still doubting USB, after look at how they do this the world. International law classify the certificate as the Jew legal claim rather than the facto. I hope you are following. And as you are following to the movement, you can see what USB is doing. It's no longer de facto alone. Now it is in collaboration of the two. The Jure recognition, the last one. Because of what? There is a certificate proving what? A permanent population of the people of Biafra. That is why you have to do quickly to accept this to feel your own. If you are not done and say it's not, I have filled my, if I never receive it, you will receive it in due time. You can see people that are receiving their own, depend on where the government issue your own out, you must receive it. But the most important thing is that now you need to do this one. All Biafrans must adhere to doing this certificate. If you are doubting it on your own, and that time you will come to apply, problem to you. That time that you will come to apply this is going to be a problem to apply it now.
And extraterritorial validity, Vienna Convention. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, sovereign identity documents carry legal weight abroad only when recognized by host countries. If foreign border agencies, banks, and foreign courts have not formally extended recognition to the exiled issuing body, the certificates serve as symbolic/cultural identity documents, rather than legally binding travel passports or municipal records. Summary matrix.
I hope it's now sound clear to you. Is it clear to you? And also with all the laws, like I told you, there's many laws. Consular and extraterritorial validity, Vienna Convention. You know, I keep on mentioning all these laws. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on the Consular Relations, sovereign identity document carries a legal weight. What legal weight is what the document carries. Abroad only when organized by host countries, if foreign borders, banking, and the foreign courts have not formally extended recognition on the exile using body. The certificates serve as a sovereign cultural identity document rather than the illegal building, traveling passport, legal building, and the what traveling passport or multiple record document. Now, let's break it down here. Remember the word. This Vienna Convention of 1963 is proving that this document is what? Sovereign identity document that carries a legal weight. It carries what? A legal weight. You might be saying, no, it's not just form, it's not just certificate. Why? When time come now, that's your when time come is delaying what we need to achieve. That's your time when time come is what I'm telling you. That is laying what we want to achieve. Everything that we are doing, there is a reason why Chukwu Okabiyama want it to happen in this way. There is a purely reason why Chukwu Okabiyama allow it to happen in this way that you are seeing it today. And I'm here to make you understand that having USB ID card is the best thing that has happened to you if you believe in that. Because through that, Nigeria are poor. It's very important that you do anything when possible, any country you are, to have this. Just email. You can log your email to someone's phone, then you do it. When the message will come to your email, you will see by yourself. It's no longer, like I always say this word, it's no longer how I feel or what I think. It's about the conducive area to stay.
International law, self-determination and identity, high, preserves cultural heritage, prevent.
Hey, sorry about that. My hand touched the wrong place. I muted the mic.
Following Ghana's independence in March 1957.
Sorry. 1 minute, my people. 1 minute. 1 minute. We are coming there because we have many things here. Okay.
When a lost nation's government-in-exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follows it with the issuance of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates, international law treats these actions through specific, interconnected legal concepts. 1. The legal effect of a peaceful redeclaration. A peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of self-determination under Article 1.2 of the United Nations Charter. Declaration of intent. The redeclaration serves as formal notice to the international community that the lost nation considers its historical legal identity unbroken. Non-violent claim. Issuing a declaration peacefully signals adherence to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of disputes. UN Charter Article 2.3. 2. Legal status of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates. The legal weight of the certificates depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal, human rights, or state-to-state perspective.
Yeah, well, all is from state to state, not organization, not internal problem.
Papers establishes a formal civil registry for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a nationality. This protects citizens from statelessness and documents their continuous connection to their national identity. Sovereignty and statehood tests. Montevideo Convention. Under Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention 1933, statehood requires a permanent population, defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. The issuance of nationality certificates documents the permanent population element. However, without physical, administrative control over the defined territory of the homeland, international law classifies these certificates as de jure, legal claim, rather than de facto, enforceable state power. Consular and extra.
This is not a write-up by Simon Ekpan and This is not a write-up by Nguzara, but this is a pure research that is bringing whatever they hide from us to achieve Biafra is what I'm bringing out for you. It's no longer. You see this US declared where we are right now. If you are not here, I will go.
Territorial validity, Vienna Convention. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, sovereign identity documents carry legal weight abroad only when recognized by host countries. If foreign border agencies, banks, and foreign courts have not formally extended recognition to the exile issuing body, the certificates serve as symbolic/cultural identity documents, rather than legally binding travel passports or municipal records. Summary matrix, legal dimension, legal standing under international law, self-determination and identity, high, preserves cultural heritage, prevents statelessness, and records population census. Internal mandate, strong, demonstrates active governance and social contract between the exile body and its people. International state enforcement, conditional, requires formal recognition by third-party sovereign nations to be legally binding for foreign travel, trade, or court jurisdiction.
I have proved to you today why we have to fill this form. Is going to help for recognition. This certificate will help us for what recognition that we are looking for. Please go and take your own. If you never fill your form, fill your form. This is what we need to do at this stage. So, I want you to sincerely tell yourself that USB is that government that the world already organized without saying a word, through the effort of the government, through doing the right thing, through proving to the world that we are the government, we are not organization. Every one of us must thank our DPM for bringing us to this line, for bringing us that where we can understand our nation clearly. And where you can also see that we are not the first people in this world. We are only repeating the history of what was done in the past. And when we refuse to repeat these histories, that is why we are making noise too much. That's why I'm calling on you, every Biafrans, to go and take your your heritage ID card. Certificate is very, very important for you. Listen again.
When a lost nation's government-in-exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follows it with the issuance of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates, international law treats these actions through specific, interconnected legal concepts. 1. The legal effect of a peaceful redeclaration. A peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of self-determination under Article 1.2.
Listen, nothing goes to Bezel.
Declaration of intent. The redeclaration serves as formal notice to the international community that the lost nation considers its historical legal identity unbroken. Non-violent claim. Issuing a declaration peacefully signals adherence to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of disputes. UN Charter Article 2.3. 2. Legal status of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates. The legal weight of the certificates depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal, human rights, or state-to-state perspective. Internal legitimacy and self-determination. Issuing heritage and nationality papers establishes a formal civil registry for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a nationality. This protects citizens from statelessness and documents their continuous connection to their national identity. Sovereignty and statehood tests. Montevideo Convention. Under Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention 1933, statehood requires a permanent population, defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. The issuance of nationality certificates documents the permanent population element. However, without physical, administrative control over the defined territory of the homeland, international law classifies these certificates as de jure, legal claim, rather than de facto, enforceable state power. Consular and extraterritorial validity, Vienna Convention. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, sovereign identity documents carry legal weight abroad only when recognized by host countries. If foreign border agencies, banks, and foreign courts have not formally extended recognition to the exiled issuing body, The certificates serve as symbolic/cultural identity documents, rather than legally binding travel passports or municipal records. Summary matrix: legal dimension, legal standing under international law, self-determination and identity, high, preserves cultural heritage, prevents statelessness, and records population census. Internal mandate, strong, demonstrates active governance and social contract between the exile body and its people. International state enforcement, conditional, requires formal recognition by third-party sovereign nations to be legally binding for foreign travel, trade, or court jurisdiction.
I have give you what they have been hiding from us and why you need to have your own certificate. Why it is very, very important at this stage. That is what I give to this evening push, that I want you to kindly, whether you believe or do not believe, that is your own property if you may do so. This certificate is what? Your own property. If you decide to have it now, the earlier the better for you. If you are still doubting USB and be hoping there is any other way that we can achieve Biafra, that is why I am calling on you to know there is no other way except all this existing law protocol, the only way to achieve it. I keep on telling you that it doesn't matter how you feel, what you think, and who you are. The main thing is that the truth must prevail. The truth is what USB stands for. And before you be on the side of truth, you must stand on all existing protocol of the world. Please, if you're watching us from YouTube, I want you to like and share the program from YouTube. If you're watching us on TikTok, I want you to tap your screen for like. That is how you do it. So please, my people, like and share the program. Anytime you're going to watch the program, it is very, very important for you to do so. By doing so, you are bringing more people to come to watch and listen to us and understand why they must take this ID card. Why they must take this certificate is very, very important. You see, this certificate is very, very important. This is why I'm calling on all women Biafrans under USB. If you are believing USB can take this certificate and we achieve what? We achieve over 40 million. They said that is automatic recognition. Whenever you hear the Jure recognition, it simply means that is the last recognition you have to become a full sovereign free nation by yourself. And today, today, we have all these things because we have a government who knew what it means and how we can easily achieve our nation. You knew it very well, and today, I want you to go and take your certificate. Please fill your certificate and have it by yourself. Do not be in a hurry. If you did not see it that day or next day, it might take 7 days, it might take 2 before it will reach your hand. But the most important that you have done it, nobody will come take it away from you anymore. All these things are why Biafra is the only way, and why our DPM, with what she is doing, is only way we can achieve this our lost nation, and we are following, and we are achieving our lost nation, whether you like it or not. You may disregard the truth, but the truth that you are disregarding will come back to hurt you at last. So I want you to like, share the program. Anytime you have the time to watch, just do me that favor by sharing and liking. Subscribe if you never do so. If you're on TikTok, we answer USB TV on TikTok. If you are on YouTube, check us on USB Research TV. Said what? USB Research TV. You can check us. And you will see us anytime we are live and we are direct, because we want Biafrans to be getting the message so they will understand that what we are fighting for is only to restore our nation. It is very, very important. If you do so by taking your own, you are helping the government as they are doing their own. Do your own. Your own is to feel and have this certificate for yourself. That's why it's very important. It is very, very important for us to go home. The same thing ID card is doing is what this one is also proving, that the government has control over his people that's in diaspora. So I urge you to do me that favor by liking and sharing so people will join us, please. So nobody will stop what we are doing. So I am going to play the last part of the program, and after that I am winding down. If you want to join me, you can, not when I want to go.
When a lost nation's government-in-exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follows it with the issuance of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates, international law treats these actions through specific, interconnected legal concepts. 1. The legal effect of a peaceful redeclaration. A peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of self-determination under Article 1.2 of the United Nations Charter. Declaration of intent. The redeclaration serves as formal notice to the international community that the lost nation considers its historical legal identity unbroken. Non-violent claim. Issuing a declaration peacefully signals adherence to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of disputes. UN Charter Article 2.3. 2. Legal status of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates. The legal weight of the certificates depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal, human rights, or state-to-state perspective. Internal legitimacy and self-determination. Issuing heritage and nationality papers establishes a formal civil registry for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a nationality. This protects citizens from statelessness and documents their continuous connection to their national identity. Sovereignty and statehood tests. Montevideo Convention. Under Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention 1933, statehood requires a permanent population, defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. The issuance of nationality certificates documents the permanent population element. However, without physical, administrative control over the defined territory of the homeland, international law classifies these certificates as de jure, legal claim, rather than de facto, enforceable state power. Consular and extraterritorial validity, Vienna Convention. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, sovereign identity documents carry legal weight abroad only when recognized by host countries. If foreign border agencies, banks, and foreign courts have not formally extended recognition to the exiled issuing body, the certificates serve as symbolic/cultural identity documents, rather than legally binding travel passports or municipal records. Summary matrix, legal dimension, legal standing under international law, self-determination and identity, high, preserves cultural heritage, prevents statelessness, and records population census. Internal mandate, strong, demonstrates active governance and social contract between the exile body and its people. International state enforcement, conditional, requires formal recognition by third.
Yes, let's welcome our brother Udo Shuku. Please, you can have the mic. Thanks so much for joining us.
Mazichido, good evening.
Good evening from here. You're welcome to the program.
Unu gbaga gwogwogwo nara ezu ike o jisidi ike na unu egosile ndị midia na Nigeria enwe midia midia ha bụ midia ọgwụ ego midia ego nke ugo nakwa n'ebe akwa na ihe a na-akpọ oge nkere akpọ onye nke akpọ onye nke ha bịa kwuwe okwu n'elu fonu ihe m dere ya na ma nyedisi amam na ndị ihe a blọkọla my S handle ha blọkọla ya ọ gara ahụ nye m dere ya today akpịrị ego gara egbu ha egbu akpịrị ego ga-egbu ha akpịrị ego na ebe obechiri ha olu ugo ha dum gbakọta ọsọ kwụrụ ego Nigeria daa n'ụzọ chai Sorry. Chineke mere ya ebere. Nyere ya aka. My brother, unu jisi ike n'ọrụ because onwe mgbe pụtara n'elu line na-aga ekwu okwu because unless kwa otu onye USB dị ji atọ m ụtọ sef ama mma agaghị mara otu a gị ji mere mara otu a gị ji agụrụ ndị USB egwu ha apịawala ndị mmadụ azụ ụtarị mmụọ apịawala ha azụ ụtarị mmụọ na-apịazi ha na ụfọdụ ha na-achọ ịgbaghara na-abọzi ike n'ama nke a na-atọzi m ọchị.
We are not talking about them this now. I am telling every Biafrans to go and take their birth certificate. That over 40 million of this is automatic recognition to the UN to allow us to go. That is why we must preach about this particular certificate at this time around. Only that certificate grants us recognition without wasting time from the UN. So it is very, very important that you deliver the message to the homeland. If you have email, you can do to 1,000 people the same day. Nothing happen. Go on and do it.
Or that ID card.
Yes. If you have people, you use your own email and do the same thing for them.
Okay, now please, I think the link, send them the link now, beg. Can we make it
the link is now just throw on our WhatsApp group. You will see it there. I reposted 2 days ago.
Okay, sir. Okay, I will do it. So that tomorrow let me start the work. That's self-referendum. Because it's past tense. I have a now. Tomorrow take over.
No problem. Thank you for that. That is your duty. Your duty is preach about this and tell people that we need this. This will enable us to go home. That is why it's very important at this stage.
I will evangelize for it tomorrow. I will start tomorrow. You will see it.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Come with the link on my platform.
Yeah?
Come just with the link now. Or send me direct to my own WhatsApp.
After program, I will send to your WhatsApp. After program, I will send it.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Travel, trade, or court jurisdiction.
Let nobody deceive you anymore. If you are being deceived, you are the one deceiving yourself. Suppose the C3 C boy. I see you. Thanks so much for joining us, Divine. I see you. Thank you. USB Chris Biafran son. You are in the comment section. Thank you so much. Thank you. Daniel, thank you. Thank you so much. Happy me. Stella Ozoa Azoka. Thank you so much for being here. Chinyelo. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of you that are on the comment section that are trying to keep me busy and give me more strength to go. Thank you so much. What we are doing today is to let the world know that we understand what it means to our own country and we must remain the way we are. That is very important.
Under international law, if any foreign country accepts an asylum document issued by a government in exile to the citizens of that lost nation, it triggers several profound legal consequences under international law. 1. Implied de facto or de jure sovereign recognition. Under standard public international law, the power to grant asylum and issue valid protection documents is a strictly sovereign privilege, jus imperii. A foreign state that accepts an asylum document issued by an exile body effectively acknowledges that the exile government possesses sovereign authority over those citizens. Under international law, this constitutes implied recognition, recognitio tacita, even if the host state has not made a formal diplomatic speech. Recognizing the legal validity of the exile government's sovereign acts functions as a practical recognition of that government. 2. Validation of extraterritorial jurisdiction. Normally, asylum is granted by a host state within its own borders. For an exile government to issue an asylum document from abroad and have another sovereign nation honor it, the host nation is acknowledging the exile government's extraterritorial personal jurisdiction over its displaced populace. It signals that the exile body, rather than the power occupying the physical homeland, holds legal authority over the national identity of its people. 3. Creation of binding bilateral custom and precedent. Under Article 38(1)b, of the Statute of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, International.
Sunday Divine, Sunday Okechukwu, please close your mic, brother. You're coming from Homeland. Please close your mic. Close your video. Close your video. It's okay. Close your video, brother. Mazi, yeah, thank you so much. You can go on. Thank you. We are not hearing you. Hello, Mazi, are you there?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening from here. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, I want to really. Yeah. I'm calling from Jure.
You are watching me before you can have a smooth conversation. Please close from the one you are watching me from, making too much noise. Then focus on talking to me, please. The noise is too much. Noise is too much. Can we hear you, Divine?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you now.
Okay. I just called to really appreciate what you are doing, brother. In fact, I'm calling from the zoo.
I know, that's why I said it's cover your
and so really, one of the last speakers said people talk about media. They say media is power. And when we look at what people are doing now, in fact, people are giving us serious home. I want to first of all say that what you people are doing is good. In fact, is entering every nook and cranny in Biafra land. And my prayer is that God that brought you people this time around. In fact, your handwork have made many doubting Thomas begin to think twice. Some time ago, somebody said that some of those people who call IPOB and they will come and condemn USB. They are the people that are moving forward to go and collect all this ID card and certificate. Why we that believe in USB are still marking time? I want to really encourage our people to please. If I have done my ID card, but I don't know whether this certificate is those that are in zoo. Can we do it, or is only those that are in the opera?
No,
I don't know.
You have two things we are doing. We have ID card for those in diaspora. We have citizenship of Biafra only for those in the homeland. For those in the homeland and also for those in diaspora also. For the truth is that you can use your email to do for more than 10 to 20 people at a time. You can do so. So this one is also
okay.
I want to put in a language who will understand it clearly. So that is what
that is the ID card, va?
We have ID card for those in diaspora. We have certificates. The birth certificate is for everybody, whether you're abroad or in diaspora. That is the truth of the office.
Okay. So I myself, I will start work now because personally I've done my own.
Okay.
But I will begin to talk to people, and also those that I can do their own, I can also help them do.
Thank you.
My prayer for you is that God will continue to keep you, give you more knowledge, because with the way you are going, I don't think whether you rest. So, in fact, every time on the line, in fact, you are giving us hope. Those two, there are many people that cannot be able to call you. Don't think that because you're not seeing many people calling from zoo, mean that what you people are saying are not in trend. What you people are saying are in trend. Like where I am, many people are queuing in seriously. So keep on the preaching, and God that brought you people will surely help us. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate our DPM, the role that he played on our PM case, and the role he continued to play. I want to thank God for our PM. In fact, the PM is a great. In fact, God has made him great. And what we are waiting for is the final verdict that, which I believe that is going to be in favor of us. We can see what the Ochu woman did, but thank God the ULB official played maturity, and we are very proud of them. In fact, I'm
Yes.
still watching some of their thing, and I was very happy. So thank you, my brother. Keep on what you're doing. The reward is from God, not only man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm always being glad whenever people from homeland call and see what we are doing, how it is. We are doing well. Thank you so much, Mazi. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So let us continue, my people, because we don't have a time. Our time is running fastly, so and we are following it like that. I want you to know, like you had on my headline, under international law, when any country accepts asylum document from government from GI, Government-in-Exile, what does it mean, or what is the meaning? What does it mean? What is the meaning of that? Once they accepted it and grant the people asylum, listen to what it simply means. It is our time, and we are not
The
panicking.
belief that an action is legally binding. If State A accepts asylum documents issued by an exiled government B, a customary legal relationship is created between those two entities. The host country becomes legally bound by its own precedent, estoppel, making it extremely difficult under international law for that host state to later claim the exile body has no sovereign standing. Key summary legal dimension. What it means under international law, sovereign status, implied recognition. Legally validates the exiled government's authority to act as a sovereign state organ. Jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction honored, confirms the host state views the exiled government, not the force in physical control of the homeland, as the rightful legal representative of those citizens. Legal standing, precedent established, creates a functional bilateral treaty-like relationship and state practice that protects the citizens under international human rights and refugee frameworks.
I hope you are listening. If you are still undermining USB, you are wasting your time. And if you are hoping that Mazakan will come out to go and join IPOB, you are deceiving yourself. If you are thinking that after all this I have been proving out to here, why USB is the only legal way for us to have our nation, and you think that any of them will come back to come and join you and your shenanigan, you are a mad person. You must be mad. You must be mad. The time we are into is time for us to have a nation. No longer a time for protest on the street. It's no longer the time for what? For protest. We are no longer in the era of protest, but we are in the era of fulfilling every promises that woman from America has come. She is the one who issued declaration. Obatobia has done everything, and we are here today. We are here. And the government has given us things to do. Go and do your certificate. It's very important. Go and do your own certificate. Go for your own betterment too. Because had I know it's looming. Had I know is coming. And it's coming, what will be your fate? Nothing. My people, let us rejoice because we have USB around us. It's only this time that we have what it takes, what we are looking for. And today we have seen what we are looking for. Are you going to allow anyone to drag it away from you? The answer is no. After this audio, I have
When a
written
lost
it down.
nation's government-in-exile, GIE, issues a peaceful redeclaration of sovereignty and follows it with the issuance of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates, international law treats these actions through specific, interconnected legal concepts. 1. The legal effect of a peaceful redeclaration. A peaceful redeclaration is an assertion of self-determination under Article 1.2 of the United Nations Charter. Declaration of intent. The redeclaration serves as formal notice to the international community that the lost nation considers its historical legal identity unbroken. Non-violent claim. Issuing a declaration peacefully signals adherence to international norms regarding the peaceful settlement of disputes. UN Charter Article 2.3. 2. Legal status of sovereign nationality and heritage certificates. The legal weight of the certificates depends heavily on whether they are viewed from an internal, human rights, or state-to-state perspective. Internal legitimacy and self-determination. Issuing heritage and nationality papers establishes a formal civil registry for the exiled population. Under Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to a nationality. This protects citizens from statelessness and documents their continuous connection to their national identity. Sovereignty and statehood tests. Montevideo Convention.
Yes.
Under Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention 1933, statehood requires a permanent population, defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. The issuance of nationality certificates documents the permanent population element. However, without physical, administrative control over the defined territory of the homeland, international law classifies these certificates as de jure, legal claim, rather than de facto, enforceable state power. Consular and extraterritorial validity, Vienna Convention. Under the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, sovereign identity documents carry legal weight abroad only when recognized by host countries. If foreign border agencies, banks, and foreign courts have not formally extended recognition to the exiled issuing body, the certificates serve as symbolic/cultural identity documents, rather than legally binding travel passports or municipal records. Summary matrix, legal dimension, legal standing under international law, self-determination and identity, high, preserves cultural heritage, prevents statelessness, and records population census. Internal mandate, strong, demonstrates active governance and social contract between the exile body and its people. International state enforcement, conditional, requires formal recognition by third-party sovereign nations to be legally binding for foreign travel, trade, or port jurisdiction.
I hope you have had it clearly, and that is where we are drawing the curtain. Everything that is coming from USB, if you accept it and do your own part, these are the things that lead us to recognition. The ID card, the birth certificate for you, all these things proving that there is a government that is taking the Biafra people to their own nation. So thank you so much for being here. We are going to end it here until we come back again tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see all of you, and you write absolutely good. Nobody will stop us anymore.